Hello, fans, and welcome to This Day in Baseball, where we're going to bring you a full radio broadcast of today's game. And before we do that, I just want to thank Classic Baseball Radio, and there's a link in the notes where you can check out their full channel. They have many great radio broadcasts. And while you're listening to today's game, if you want to check out much more about the game and the players, look on the links below, and you're going to see links to player pages, the date the game happened, the year it happened, and the play-by-play. Enjoy the game, and check out the links while you're watching the game, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that every time new content comes out, you're going to get that firsthand. And thank you again for checking out This Day in Baseball, and enjoy the game.
Mets are on the air. Reach the Met. Step right up and reach the Met. Bring your kitty, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really rocking the ball. Not no home run over the wall. East side, west side, everybody comes down to the Mets of New York. From the Polo Grounds in New York, it's opening day of the 1963 National League season. Casey Singles, New York Mets meeting Johnny Kuhn's St. Louis Cardinals. Today's game brought to you by Rheingold Extra Dry and Viceroy Cigarettes. Well, hi, everybody. This is Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner, all set to detail every exciting play of the 1963 season. Now, here are the starting lineups on opening day in New York. For the St. Louis Cardinals, Curt Flood will be in center field. Right now, Lindsey Nelson is directing the attention to the box near the dugout of the New York Mets, where the president of the city council, Paul Scavane, will toss out the first ball. Well, Choo-Choo makes the catch and returns the ball to Paul Scavane. So the lineups and batting order. St. Louis with Curt Flood in center field leading off. Veteran Dick Grote, acquired from Pittsburgh, at shortstop, batting second. Bill White will be at first base, batting third. In right field, from the Chicago Cubs, George Altman, the cleanup hitter. Captain Ken Boyer at third base, hitting number 5. In left field, batting number 6, Stan Musial. Carl Sawatsky behind the plate, hitting 7th. Julian Javier will be at second base, batting 8th. And on the mound and hitting 9th, Ernie Voglio. For the New York Mets, Larry Burright, who opened last year as the regular second baseman of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Larry Burright at second, the leadoff hitter. Batting second, Clarence Choo-Choo Coleman. The story of the year to this point in baseball. A youngster who was 17 years old 1 year ago, and who on opening day here in New York at the Polo Grounds was a spectator seated in the box seats watching the ball game. Today, 1 year later, at the age of 18, is in the starting lineup. Not only in the starting lineup, but batting third in the batting order in front of one of the great hitters of all time, 18-year-old Ed Kranepool in right field, batting third. In center field, and rendered a magnificent ovation, back to New York comes Duke Schneider, batting cleanup. In left field, hitting number 5, Frank Thomas. Now the New York Mets are taking the field. First base, Jim Harkness, batting number 6. Charlie Neal will be at third base, hitting 7th. Al Moran, who was on the Buffalo roster when he reported to the Mets spring training camp in St. Petersburg, Florida, battled his way onto the ball club with his exciting defensive work. Moran at shortstop, batting 8th. And the veteran right-hander, a North Carolinian who now makes his off-season home in Long Beach, California, a man with a world of pitching knowledge, tall, slim right-hander, Roger Craig. The batteries then. For the New York Mets, Roger Craig and Choo-Choo Coleman. For the St. Louis Cardinals, Ernie Voglio and Carl Sawatsky. Umpires again, Frank Sikori behind the plate. Big Bill Zukowski at first, Benny Smith at second, and Paul Pryor will be at third. The New York Mets and St. Louis Cardinals will conclude the two-game series with an afternoon game tomorrow starting at 2 o'clock. For those of you unable to be here today for the exciting opener, we hope that you'll be on hand tomorrow at 2 for the second and concluding game of the two-game series. Following the game tomorrow, the New York Mets fly to Milwaukee, where they open the home season for Bobby Brigham's Milwaukee Braves on Thursday afternoon. Now it is play ball, and the 1963 season is getting underway. Leading off in the game will be center fielder Curt Flood. Curt, a right-hand batter with a world of speed, a great defensive ball player, a fine all-around player. He gets around 200 base hits a year. Last year he had 188 base hits. Here's Craig into the windup. The season is underway, and the pitch is over. Strike one call. We're underway at the first pitch of the season. Is a call strike. Now Curt Flood bending from the waist. Right-hand batter. The pitch by Craig. A slow grounder down the third baseline. A real tough chance. Throw by Neal will not be in time. A wide throw in foul ground. Choo-choo trying to run it down. Racing to second goes Curt Flood. The throw to second not in time. It'll go as a base hit and an error charged to Charlie Neal. Neal didn't seem to have a chance to make a play on that one, but being a tremendous competitor, he did not give up on it. It was that do or die, that swinging bunt down the third baseline, and the ball was hit so slow that by the time Neal got his bare hand to it, Curt Flood, one of the fastest men in the game, had almost flown across first base. Now we have a time called because New York Mets first baseman Tim Harkness has something in his eye. And trainer Gus Marsh has gone out to see what he can do to give Tim a hand on it. So the game is underway on an infield hit down the third baseline by Curt Flood. He races to second on a throwing error charged to Charlie Neal. The batter coming on will be the veteran Dick Gross. Dick has never played an inning of minor league baseball. A 9-year veteran with a lifetime National League average of 290. Last year at Pittsburgh, he hit 294. Dick, 32 years old. Probably the best number 2 hitter in Major League Baseball today. The pitch by Roger Craig. A line drive to right field. A base hit behind the runner. Flood around third is being held up the peg by Cranepool coming in. And he holds him, and the head is for Cranepool. Dick Gross, a real master at hitting behind a runner, hit a hard line drive into right field, and Cranepool, handling the ball in the first stop, made a good throw to the plate. And Vern Benson, coaching at third, held the Curt Flood up coming around. Now the Cardinals, getting off to a fast start, have runners at the corners, nobody out. And the hitter is Bill White, the first baseman. White, who has a world of power, left-hand batter, had a great year with St. Louis last season. Little stirring around now in the New York Mets bullpen. Down comes the pitch. A fly ball hit deep to center field. Back goes the Duke. He's under it waiting. Schneider makes the catch. Flood tags up. He's coming down to score after the grab. And the Cardinals lead 1-0. Give Bill White a run batted in on the sacrifice fly. Now 1 away and 1 on, and the cleanup batter is George Altman. Now right-hander Carlson Willie and southpaw Don Rose start warming up. Cardinals lead 1-0. We're just underway, top of the first inning. George Altman, left-hand hitter with a world of power, big fellow. Feet wide apart, pulls up on the pitch. It's inside and low, ball 1. Roger Craig earned the opening day starting assignment with his fine pitching during spring training. Last year, Altman hit .318 with the Chicago Cubs, including 22 home runs. This is over a call strike on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike now on George Altman. Well, we have a wonderful opening day crowd here in the Polo Grounds. A crowd that would have been probably even larger had it not been for the fact that the skies were overcast and a light rain fell earlier in the morning. Right now, it is a beautiful day. But whereas 30 minutes ago it was clear, it's now clouding up a little bit. Bounced foul, he barely got a piece of that one. Off the throwing hand of Choo-Choo Coleman. Mets Mets have the infield around toward right and hoping for a chance at two. Charlie Neal wide of the bag at third. Al Moran shaded toward second. The outfield deep and around toward right. The pitch by Craig, a breaking ball off the outside corner. Choo-Choo bluffing a peg down at first. The count is even now on George Altman at 2-2. Altman came to St. Louis along with Mo Thacker and Don Cardwell for Jim Schaefer, Larry Jackson, and Lindy McDaniel. Cardinals gave up pitching, Jackson and McDaniel to beef up their attack. A foul ball off the fifth, back upstairs and out of play. Many celebrities, as you can well imagine, are here today at the Polo Grounds for the opener of the National League season. Now Craig up in pitching position, delivers to Altman. A smash on the ground, a base hit going through the hole into left field. Around second is Dick Grote. He'll hold up there as Frank Thomas flips the ball back in. George Altman belts the ground single through the shortstop hole into left field. Now coming on to hit for St. Louis will be Captain Kenny Boyer. He has led the Redbird offense for the last 5 years. Husky right-hand batter with a world of power has a tendency to go through real hot streaks and occasional cold streaks. Mets have the infield set up, hoping for a shot at two. The outfield is deep. Pitched by Roger. Fastball over, strike one call. Don Rowe, a left-hander, up from Columbus. And Carl Willie, acquired from the Milwaukee Braves, are loosening up in the New York Mets bullpen. St. Louis with one run in. They've collected 3 hits, been aided by an error. We're in the top half of the first. Now tall Roger looks in for his sign from Choo-Choo Coleman. It's thrown to Boyer. Bounced foul. He barely got a piece of that one. Just a squibbler going off to the left, run down by Choo-Choo, and the count is strike 2. Tomorrow afternoon, in the concluding game of this 2-game series, lefty Al Jackson will be on the mound for the New York Mets. Al had 4 shutouts last year, including one at the expense of the St. Louis Cardinals. A 1-0 mound duel that he won from Bob Gibson. His mound opponent tomorrow might well be Bob Gibson, or it may be Ray Washburn. The 2-strike delivery. A ground ball hit toward the hole, base hit going into left field. Grote around third is coming on to score, and the Cardinals now lead 2-0 on 2 runs on 4 singles. Well, Roger Craig got in front of Kenny Boyer. He had him 2 strikes. The Boyer singles with a ground ball hit through the hole. Now here's Stan Musial. Cardinals have not hit the ball hard against Roger Craig here in the first, with the exception of the base hit to right field by Dick Grote. Grote hit was a hard line drive into right field. The base hit by Flood was a swinging bunt down the third baseline. Altman, a left-hand hitter, poked one through the left side of the infield, and Boyer hit a ground ball through the hole into left field. Now Stan, the man, is up. Down comes the pitch to him. Off the outside corner, ball 1. Stan virtually owns the National League record book. And he feels that he is as ready to go for another banner year as he has ever been. Stan has hit more home runs than any visiting player in the history of the Polo Grounds. Pitch is over for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Stan Musial, after 21 years, he has a lifetime batting average of 333. Now Roger Craig trying to pitch out of a jam here in the top half of the first. Checks the runners. Pickoff play. Throw to second. Not in time. It breaks off the glove of Al Moran. Altman is on his way to third. The throw to third. Not in time. Pickoff attempt at second base, but a high throw went off the glove of Al Moran. Rolled out to the edge of the center field grass, and George Altman moves over to third. We'll wait for the official scoring as to whether the error will be on the throw or on the glove end of the play. Now the Cardinals have runners at the corners, only 1 away. Musial hitting with Carl Sawatsky on deck. The infield and most of the outfield playing area bathed in a bright sunshine. Breeze blowing out in favor of the hitters. Count on Stan Musial, 1 ball and 1 strike. Roger Craig trying to work out of a nightmarish first inning. Delivers a high pop-up down the left field line. Maybe hard to get to. Charlie Neal down the line, and he takes it over his shoulder. Good catch. Runners holding at first and third. Good play by Charlie Neal. Looked for a moment or so, Al Moran might come over because Charlie was going right down the line with his back to the ball, and he took it over his shoulder. On the previous play, the error is on the throw on Roger Craig. Now the hitter is Carl Sawatsky with 2 men down, top of the first inning. Rheingold Extra Dry, your radio host. Hope you're enjoying the ball game. Opening day from the Polo Grounds. Now Roger Craig makes the 1-second stop. Runners at first and third. Pitch is high, ball 1. Carl Sawatsky, veteran left-hand hitter, has a lot of power. Polo Grounds tailor-made for him, and he also has been in a hot streak over the last week or so. So Johnny Keane wanted him instead of Gene Oliver in the lineup here today. Now Craig eyes the runners. Here's his pitch to Sawatsky. That's over, a strike on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. George Altman, the leading runner on third. Kenny Boyer on first. Real good crowd out in the center field bleachers for today's opening game of the 63 season. Now throw to first by Craig, not in time. Tim Hartnett holding against Kenny Boyer. The rest of the infield around to right. Another pickoff attempt, not in time. Roger Craig picked off 13 or 14 men last year, including the mercury-footed Maury Wills, who stole 104 bases. Now the pitch. Slow breaking pitch in there for a call strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Carl Sawatsky. Day game tomorrow concludes the 2-game series. New York then will be traveling to Milwaukee and Cincinnati before returning right here to the Polo Grounds. For the first. Oh, he almost got it. Kenny Boyer just gets back. One ball, 2 strikes. Roger Craig with runners on first and third trying to pick off Kenny Boyer. The pitch to Sawatsky. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Breaking ball in on him, and Sawatsky goes down swinging. In the first inning, St. Louis, 2 runs. 4 hits. There were 2 errors and 2 left on. 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors, and 2 left. The score in the middle of the first, the Cardinals 2, the New York Mets coming to bat. Pleasant voices, pleasant music, pleasant thoughts. Well, put them together and you've got, well, listen.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Think of Rheingold whenever you buy beer. It's not bitter, not sweet, it's a dry flavored treat. Won't you try extra dry Rheingold beer?
And now you can enjoy famous Rheingold Extra Dry in the new Jug-a-Mug. It's the first and only beer container with a wide mouth and a top that's so easy to open. Just pull the tab on top straight out, then straight up and off. You drink right from the Jug-a-Mug. No glasses, no opener, no deposit, no fooling. Jug-a-Mug holds the same and costs the same as the 12-ounce can. Buy it now wherever famous Rheingold Extra Dry is sold.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Jug-a-Mug is a new way to buy beer. Better get some today.
Jug-a-Mug, what you say?
What a great way to drink Rheingold beer.
Now the New York Mets are up to hit against Ernie Voglio in the last half of the first inning. And the leadoff batter will be Larry Burright, setting up the Cardinals defensively. Bill White is at first, Julian Javier playing second, Dick Grote is the shortstop, and Kenny Boyer is at third. In the outfield, Stan Musial in left, Kurt Flood in center. Around in right field, George Altman. Behind the plate, Carl Sawatsky, and on the mound, Ernie Voglio. Now slender Larry Burright steps in to lead off for the New York Mets. Sally Hemus coaching at first, and Cookie Lavagetto at third. The wonderful fans here at the Polo Grounds already clamoring for action, and a foul ball is back upstairs and out of play. The reception given to the members of the New York Mets as they were introduced individually by Lindsey Nelson prior to the game was absolutely marvelous. They brought the house down when Gil Hodges and Duke Schneider were introduced. Duke received a standing ovation and doffed his cap to the wonderful crowd. Pitch thrown to Burright, he bluffed for the bunt, and the pitch is over for a called strike. Ernie Voglio, one of the outstanding curveball pitchers of the major leagues today, getting the jump now on Larry Burright with a 2-strike count. Now the pitch thrown. Outside and high, Burright lays off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Voglio winds. The pitch on the way is lined hard to straightaway center field. Flood will have to play it on the high. It's a base hit. Larry Burright leads off the first with a single to center field. Larry Burright lines the single to center field, leading off in the last half of the first inning. Now here's Cucci. Cucci has applied himself well and has shown tremendous improvement. He has been worked long and hard with by manager Casey Stengel. Left-hand batter, and the pitch is popped up in foul territory. Back comes Sawatsky, masked off, he's under it, and he takes it for the out. 2 men down, or rather 1 man down, 1 man on, and on to hit now will be Eddie Kranepool. Well, can you imagine how he must feel at this moment? Only 18 years old. Eddie will not be 19 until November. He joined the Mets late last season and appeared in a few ball games. Eddie actually said before the game today he didn't feel quite as nervous today, or at least up to that point, as he did when he first came into the Polo Grounds late last season. Eddie's 6'3", left-hand hitter. Wonderful batting eye for a young hitter. Pitched by Voglio. Fastball over, strike 1 call. Duke Schneider is the on-deck hitter, and then Frank Thomas. A lot of electricity in the air on opening day. Here's the pitch. And the ball is hit high in the air out into shallow center field. Dick Grote is back there calling for it, and Dick takes it for the out. And now while we wait for Duke Schneider, let's pause for station identification.
This is WGY 810 on your radio dial, Schenectady.
Now here is the erstwhile Duke of Flatbush starting his 17th year in Major League Baseball. A man who has hit 389 home runs, 11 World Series homers. Runner on first, 2 men down. Duke Schneider facing Ernie Voglio. It's thrown by Voglio, a little bit high, and Duke lays off. 1 ball and no strikes. You know, in almost every section of the Polo Grounds today where you take a look, you see banners backing Duke Schneider, welcoming Duke back to New York. Now Voglio off the stretch, delivers to the plate. Inside and low, Duke started to go, then held up. 2 balls and no strikes. At the age of 36, Duke is in real top physical shape. The Dodgers with a great young outfield. Tommy Davis, Willie Davis, and Frank Howard. Now the pitch thrown. In the dirt, ball 3. Frank Thomas waiting on deck. As a result, Duke played in only 80 games last year, but when he did get a chance to play consistently in the latter part of the season, his teammates say he played real well. No doubt about it, the Duke can really help. Now the 3-0 pitch. He's taking all the way, and it's in there for a call, strike one, 3-1. Now Voglio off the stretch. The 3-1 pitch is swung and missed. A full count, 3-2. This two-game series, New York will be on the road for a series in Milwaukee to open their home season, and a two-game series in Cincinnati. Bill White not holding against Larry Burright. He drops back toward fielding depth. The 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. It's inside and low. Schneider walks, and the Mets have 2 men on. On to hit will be Frank Thomas. Coming on the bat will be Frank Thomas. Frank, too, has established himself as one of the foremost home run hitters in the National League. The New York Mets, in 3 men, Hodges, Schneider, and Thomas, have a trio that has hit a lot of home runs. Pitched by Voglio, it's outside and low, it's ball 1. Duke has hit 389. Gil Hodges, 370. Frank Thomas, though not up near that figure, nonetheless has hit a ton of them. Frank has 257. Frank has usually been a good early season hitter. Hit 34 home runs last year. Pitched by Ernie Voglio. A ground ball hits foul in front of Cookie Lavigetto and out of play. New season underway and plenty of new excitement, plenty of new faces that came into the camp of the New York Mets. Voglio ready, the 1-1 pitch. He holds up on the swing and it's off the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike. Who would have believed that when spring training started, that on opening day, 18-year-old Ed Kranepool would be in right field and 20-year-old Steve Dillon would be with the squad. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Ball 3, it's off the outside corner. Voglio behind on Thomas now, 3-1. Tim Harkness is the on-deck hitter. St. Louis 2, the New York Mets nothing. We're in the last half of inning number 1. Mets have a threat of their own going. Voglio with a 3-1 pitch. A high fly ball hit the left field, not too deep. Musial is trotting in, looking up. He makes the catch, and the side is out. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, 2 left on. At the end of 1 inning, the score, the St. Louis Cardinals 2, and the New York Mets nothing. Top of the second inning, Julian Javier, the Cardinals second baseman, leads off against Roger Craig. We'll be passing along the scores of the other games for you as they come in and the other openers. Pittsburgh was in the traditional early opener in the National League with Cincinnati yesterday, with the Cincinnati Reds winning behind Jim O'Toole. Javier tried to hold up on the swing, but not in time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Today, the Milwaukee Braves are at Pittsburgh opening the Pirate season. For the Braves, Lou Burdett, who had a fantastic spring. For the Pirates, Bob Friend. Braves lead 1-0 at the end of 3 innings. Now Roger out of his windup. The pitch outside and low, 2-1. Here are the warm-ups at Wrigley Field for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Don Drysdale. For the Chicago Cubs, former Cardinal Larry Jackson. They're underway in Houston. The Giants did not score in the first against Kurt Farrell. Jack Sanford pitching for San Francisco. Cincinnati and the Phillies play tonight. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Nobody on, nobody out. We're in the top of the second. In the American League, New York and Kansas City, Ralph Terry against Diego Segui. At Tiger Stadium in Detroit, the Detroit Tigers got 4 runs to chase Ray Herbert in the second. They lead the White Sox 4-0. Jim Bunning pitching for Detroit. Gus Triandos homered in the second, nobody on. Cleveland at Minnesota, Mudcat Grant against Camilo Pascual. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. The Red Sox and the Angels have a night game in Los Angeles. Roger Craig strikes out Julian Javier, and that brings up Ernie Voglio. Roger, lifetime against St. Louis, has won 9 and lost 9. Voglio takes a little bit high, ball 1. Ernie Voglio against the Mets last year won 2 and lost 1. He was beaten in the 9th inning on a 3-run homer by Marv Throneberry. Swing and a miss, 1 ball, 1 strike. What a beautiful day for an opening ball game. Top of the second inning, Cardinals in front 2-0. Roger Craig swings out of his windup. Now the pitch, a ground ball slowly hit right back to the mound. Roger has it, throws the first, 2 down. In the early openers yesterday, for those of you who may have missed the scores, in the presidential opener in Washington, the Baltimore Orioles defeated Washington 3-1. In the traditional opener in Cincinnati, the Reds behind Jim O'Toole beat Pittsburgh and Earl Francis 5-2. Now the hitter is Kurt Flood, and Craig tips a low fastball over at the knees for a call strike. Flood got the Cardinals going with a swinging bunt for a base hit down the third baseline in the first inning. Breaking ball outside and low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the enthusiasm of the crowd has been wonderful. Kurt Flood lays off. It's outside and low. Ball 2, 2-1. For St. Louis, Joe Schultz is on the coaching lines at first base. And Vern Benson is on the lines at third. Johnny Keane running his ball club from the dugout this year. Dick Grote is the on-deck batter, and then Bill White. Pitching 2-1. Bounced foul. He barely got a piece of that one, and the count is even now, 2-2. Well, we're mighty happy to have our crew intact for the coming season, radio and television-wise. Happy to have back with us here in the radio booth this afternoon for the opener as we get underway our radio engineer, Joe Vernum, and our new statistician, Matt Winnick. Matt, you'll probably wear out about 2 suitcases this year, but I know you'll enjoy it. Now Craig pitches 2-2. Look out, a high fastball. He had to duck under that one. And the count sails now to 3-2. The last time we were here with Joe Vernum in the Polo Grounds was during the football season, and it was cold. Today, it is pleasant and wonderful. 3-2 is hit in the air down the right field line. It's sliced. It may go foul. It does. Foul ball down the right field line. So the string is out, 3-2 on leadoff batter and center fielder Kurt Flood. Roger taking his time. Tall, slim, veteran right-hander. Now Roger over the head, the 3-2 pitch. A foul ball wafted back toward the upper deck. It'll be out of play. We have a good crowd in the upper deck almost all the way around, and a real good crowd in the center field bleachers. If you had the time to stop and count up the number of banners in the ballpark just welcoming Duke Schneider back today, it would be a pretty high figure. Here's the payoff pitch. Just inside, it's ball 4, and Kurt Flood draws a walk. That's the first walk given up by Craig. He doesn't walk many. Now the hitter is Dick Grote, 9-year veteran and shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He got off to a good start when he lined a single to right field behind Kurt Flood his first time up. Foul ball, right straight back. No play in the count, strike one. Lefty Al Jackson will be on the hill for the New York Mets tomorrow. His mound opponent will be either Ray Washburn or Bob Gibson. And the New York Mets will be up against Warren the Wonder Spahn in Milwaukee as they open the Braves season on Thursday. Throw to first, not in time. Another throw to first, not in time. Well, Casey is actually opening the season with 4 first basemen. Gil Hodges, Marv Thornberry, Tim Harkness, and Eddie Kranepool. Kranepool was moved to the outfield as Casey was searching for that left-handed batting outfielder. And the youngster has taken to it well. A throw to first, not in time. Harkness really slapped the tag on Flood in a hurry that time. One of the interesting things to watch when Roger is pitching a game, particularly if Gil's at first, is how fast he tags the man. A high fly to short left field. Frank Thomas says, I've got it, comes in and makes the catch to side us up. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on. At the end of an inning and a half, the score, the Cardinals 2 and the Mets nothing.
For New York. Number 3. First baseman, Tim Harkness.
Now we go to the home second, and Tim Harkness leads off against Ernie Voglio. Braves lead the Pirates 1-0 at the end of 3.5. Burdett against Bob Friend. In the American League, Chicago got 3 in the third inning off Jim Bunning. It's now Detroit 4, the White Sox 3 at the end of 2.5. Yankees scoreless in the first inning against Diego Segui. 23-game winner Ralph Terry on the mound for New York. Now Tim Harkness is up against Ernie Voglio, the bottom half of the second. He starts him off with a fastball a little bit too tight. 1 ball and no strikes. Well, Harkness played some in the Polo Grounds last year when he was with the Dodgers. He was in a number of games as a late-inning defensive replacement. This is a strike on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. He came to bat just a very few times. He did hit a home run off Ernie Voglio in one of the games. Now Suarez, Ernie Voglio. Over the head, around comes the arm. Big curve that breaks in there for a called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One of the great curveballs among all the major league pitchers. Off the outside corner, and the count is even 2-2. The last time the Mets saw him in spring training a week ago, he was as sharp as we have ever seen him. Now the 2-2 pitch. A changeup hit on the ground past the mound towards second, fielded by Grote. He fires to White in time, and Harkness is out. Hit up the middle, but was not hit sharply, and Dick Grote was able to go in behind second. Now coming on is veteran Charlie Neal. As Charlie steps to the plate, it is his 3,000th time at bat. Charlie handed a new position early in spring training by skipper Casey Stengel. Heretofore a second baseman and shortstop. He went to third, and he really took to it. Outside and low, it's ball 1. Casey says Charlie has been playing third like it was a joke, like there was nothing to it. In comes the pitch to him, a swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Last year, the New York Mets opened the season in St. Louis. They were opening with a night game, and that night it was about 35 degrees and raining. They postponed the game. Off the outside corner, 2 balls and a strike. Played the next night, but it was not exactly an ideal night. The sun has shined favorably on the New York Mets for their big opener here today against St. Louis. Pitching 2-1. A little bit low, Neal following it all the way into Carl Sawatsky's big miss. And the count 3 balls and 1 strike. Now Voglio cranking up the 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. And the string is out 3-2. The Mets had 2 men on in the first inning when Larry Burright singled to center and Duke Schneider walked. But Frank Thomas flied to left for the third out. Pitching 3-2. Ball 4 is outside and low, and Charlie's on. That brings up 24-year-old Al Moran. The find of the spring training camp. He came to camp on the Buffalo roster as a throw-in the Felix Mantilla trade that brought along Pumphrey Green and Tracy Salad. But Casey got about 2 quick glimpses of him handling that glove on the left side of the infield and said, hey, I want to see more of it. And we're seeing more of him on opening day. Moran, right-hand batter. Neal leading off first, the pitch by Voglio, and it's popped up in foul ground behind the plate. Sawatsky has plenty of room and takes it for the out. Now there are 2 away, and Roger Craig comes on to hit. So Voglio obviously has good stuff as the hitters are popping that ball up. You know, right now would be a good time to pour yourself a glass of Rheingold Extra Dry. Open up or order up Rheingold Extra Dry. It's beer as beer should taste. Hitting against Voglio. Mets trailing 2-0. We're in the last half of the second. Bill White holding against Charlie Neal. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Roger has never been known for his hitting. Now Voglio up in pitching position. Down comes the arm. A little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. After the New York Mets go out on the trip to Milwaukee and Cincinnati, they come back to the Polo Grounds on the 19th to open a weekend series against the Milwaukee Braves with a Friday night game, a Saturday Ladies' Day game, and a doubleheader on Sunday. Outside and low, ball 2, 2-1. Remember, the game here tomorrow starts at 2. For those of you unable to be on hand, we'll be on the air at 1:55. Roger Craig facing Ernie Voglio, the 2-1 pitch. Ground ball on the right side of the diamond. Big hop for Javier. He elects to go to Dick Gross for the force play that winds up the half of the inning. The Mets are out in their half of the second with no runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. And now at the end of 2, the score, the St. Louis Cardinals 2 and the New York Mets 0. Right here we'll be going along to the 3rd inning. The St. Louis Cardinals will be coming up against Roger Craig. All set to step in and follow the action along for you, Ralph Kiner. All right, Bob, it's the opening game of the 1963 season. The Cardinals against the New York Mets. The score 2-0 in favor of the Cardinals, top of the 3rd inning. Hitting off for St. Louis will be Bill White. He'll be followed by George Allman, then Ken Boyer. First pitch to Bill White is inside for ball 1. Bill drove in a run in the first inning when the Cardinals scored their 2 runs on a sacrifice fly to center field. Here's the pitch back to the left-hand swinger. A swing and a miss for strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Roger Craig now working here in the top of the 3rd. He has given up 2 runs, allowed 4 hits. Charlie Neal at third base playing in very tight, looking for a possible bunt. Here's the pitch back, a change of pace. It's low for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. White had his best season last year, and now he fouls away a fastball to even out the count at 2-2. It was his 6th year in the major leagues, and Bill batted .324, 4th in the league behind Tommy Davis, Frank Robinson, and Stan Musial. He was voted the top defensive first baseman in the National League for the 3rd straight year. Bill White with a 2-2 count. Going out, top of the 3rd inning, score 2-0 Cardinals. Now Roger taking a long look at the signs. Too long for Bill White. He stepped out of the batter's box. Now time is in. Roger into the windup in the 2-2 pitch. Bouncing ball hit foul by Joel Schultz in the first base coaching box. So the count holds at 2 balls and 2 strikes. White last year hit 20 home runs, drove in 102 runs. He had a fine spring. Started his major league career right here in the Polo Grounds playing for the New York Giants. Now the 2-2 pitch again, a curveball that hangs outside. So the count fills out now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And 2 strikes as Craig comes back. And there's a drive to right. It's going to be all the way. And there it goes, a home run. Bill White with the first home run in the Polo Grounds for the 1963 season. Cardinals lead 3-0 now. White with his second run batted in the ball game. And Bill, who hit 20 home runs last year, now with 1 home run here in the holds at 2 balls and 2 strikes. White last year hit 20 home runs, drove in 102 runs. He had a fine spring. Started his major league career right here in the Polo Grounds playing for the New York Giants. Now the 2-2 pitch again, a curveball that hangs outside. So the count fills out now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And 2 strikes as Craig comes back. And there's a drive to right. It's going to be all the way. And there it goes, a home run. Bill White with the first home run in the Polo Grounds for the 1963 season. Cardinals lead 3-0 now. White with his second run batted in the ball game. And Bill, who hit 20 home runs last year, now with 1 home run here in the first game of the 1963 season. It brings up George Altman, who singled to left field his first time up. George batting from the left-hand side. White hit a high-hanging curveball on the 3-2 count. Here's the pitch to Altman, a change of pace. It's swung on a miss for strike 1. Cardinals lead 3-0, top of the 3rd inning. Now the pitch back to Altman, a curve, too low, 1 ball and 1 strike. George Altman last year with the Chicago Cubs. He hit .318 for the Cubs. Now the pitch back, and there's a check in the swing in time. It's inside and high, 2 balls and 1 strike. With his .318, White Altman had 22 home runs and 74 runs batted in. He gives the Cardinals some added power in the outfield. Now Craig missing outside, and the count goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. Strange thing about Altman, he was picked up to hit in the short right field area in St. Louis. They have a short fence there. There's a base hit through the middle. White with a smash right through the middle. Altman, I should say. He rounds at first base and holds. So Altman gets his second hit in the ball game, and now the Cardinals have a runner at first base with no one out. Altman picked up to hit in the short right field fence area in St. Louis, and he has batted over the season as a Cub in St. Louis, only 169. Now action in the bullpen for the Mets is Ken McKenzie up and throwing, along with Carlton Willie. Make it Don Rowe, a left-hander, up with Carlton Willie. In the first inning, when the Cardinals picked up the only 2 runs of the ball game, Willie and Rowe were up then. So this is the second time they were up. Now the first pitch, it's inside low, ball 1. Ken Boyer, the batter. Ken drove in a run in the first inning when he singled to left field to score Dick Gross from second base. Boyer batting from the right-hand side. Cardinals with 3 runs on 6 hits. The Mets have no runs and 1 hit in the ball game. Altman at first base. Boyer looks inside again. So the count now 2 balls and no strikes. Roger Craig on top now. And over to first base. Throw late as Altman gets back in time. Now Craig sets again and comes to the plate. Curveball, it's over. Throw to first base by Chichu Coleman, not in time. 2 balls and 1 strike count. Now the pitch back, and there's a check, and the pitch is inside, ball 3. Boyer started to go and then held up. So the count now goes to 3 balls and 1 strike. On deck batter, Stan Musial. Craig again to first base, but Altman with a short lead back ahead of the throw. Now a quick throw to first. This time Altman has to hustle back. He makes it. Count 3 balls and 1 strike. No one out, top of the 3rd. Craig sets and comes to the plate to Boyer. And there's a drive to left. It's going to go for extra bases. Going over Schneider. No, he makes the play. A great catch by Duke Schneider in left center field. For Schneider to go back to his position, we'll pause for station identification.
This is 810 on your radio dial, WGY Schenectady, the General Electric station.
Ralph Schneider along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from the Polo Grounds, and the first pitch to Stan Musial by Roger Craig is outside for ball 1. Well, Duke Schneider, who has made many a great catch, pulled one out of the hat right there to save a run and keep Boyer from getting at least a double. Duke went way to his right to take the ball in left center field. He had to backhand the play. It was a one-hand get. So the Duke in center field turning in the play of the year so far in 1963. Here's a pitch to Stan Musial. A curve over, 1 ball, 1 strike. Duke really got a good jump on that ball. He had to go a long way. Now Craig stepping off the pitching rubber to chase Altman back at first base. Tim Harkin is playing behind the runner at first. Altman has good speed, but with the score of 3-0 in favor of the Cardinals, the Mets don't figure him to run. Musial now bounding the ball foul by the first baseman. That runs the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Of course, Harkness at first base looking for all the defensive room he can get against Stan Musial. This is Stan's 22nd Major League season. Roger Craig now in the stretch position and back to Musial with a curve, and there's the ball hit foul again down the first base coaching area. Count holds at 1-2. Stan Musial tied a Major League record in the Polo Grounds last year when he hit 4 consecutive home runs in a doubleheader. Stan holds a unique Major League record of having 5 home runs in a doubleheader. No other ball player has done this. Now the 1-2 pitch, time called. And it's a balk call. George Altman gets second base as a balk is called on Roger Craig. Roger not coming to the full second stop. The balk was called by home plate umpire Frank Decoy. No pitch. The count holds at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, all season long during spring training, balks were called at great regularity, and now the first one for the 1963 season here in the Polo Grounds. A An open base at first base. One man out to score 3-0 in favor of the Cardinals. George Altman on at second. Now the pitch back to the plate. A curve line to right field. Coming over is Faithful. He can't play it. He takes it off of the wall. Scoring from second base is Altman, and Stan Musial now has driven in the fourth Cardinal run. Well, in this case, the balk was costly thing to Roger Craig. It set up another run for the Cardinals as they take the lead 4-0. Musial on at first base with a base hit. He is now 1 for 2. And the batter coming up is Carl Sawatsky. Ed Grainpool, playing his first game in right field there at the Polo Grounds, played that ball well off the wall. It was lying down there. He played the carom perfectly to hold Musial at first. One out, a runner at first, and the pitch to Sawatsky is a curve that's outside for ball 1. Roger Craig now has given up a total of 7 base hits while allowing 4 runs. And there again, time call, and once again, another balk call. So Frank Sikori calling the balk again from behind home plate, and once again, a runner going down to second base. Incidentally, Sawatsky swinging at that ball fouled it off. And if he'd have hit the ball, the Cardinals would have had the option of taking the result of the ball being hit. They could have either taken that or the balk. But here, of course, they take the balk with a foul ball. The count is still 1 ball and no strike. Foul ball does not count. This was a new rule put into effect about a year ago, giving the offended team a chance to take a selection. Now the 1-0 setup. Craig bluffing as he moves off the pitching rubber. 1 ball, no strike. And the pitch back to Sawatsky, a left-hand batter. There's a line smash down off Harkness's knee. Coming over to second base on a bad throw by Burright. Safe at first base is Sawatsky, and now moving over to third base is Stan Musial. Tough chance for Tim Harkness. The ball was a line smash, and 1 hopper bouncing off his right leg. Burright coming over from second base, picked the ball up, had a small chance for play at first to Roger Craig covering, but he threw the ball wild. We'll wait to see how it's scored. Scoring a base hit all the way. No error in the play. Musial moving over to third base on the base hit. So the 4th hit in the inning off Roger Craig, and the Cardinals have runners at first and third with 1 man out, and the batter will be Julian Javier. Sawatsky now 1 for 2 in the game. Javier struck out, swinging his first time up. There's a ball in the dirt, blocked nicely by Coleman. Runners holding. Cardinals lead 4-0 here in the top of the 3rd inning. Roger Craig now in the stretch position. A 1-0 count. There's a pitch back to Javier. It's fouled off the end of the bat. So it moves to 1 ball and 1 strike. Cardinals with 2 runs in the first inning on 4 base hits, and now 2 more here in the 3rd on 4 base hits. In the 2nd inning, they left a man on. He walked. 1-1 pitch, a curve, swung on and missed, strike 2. Javier trying to hold up. Still went far enough, and that moves the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. ball and 2 strikes as Craig comes back with a curve and he gets him swinging. Curveball on the outside part of the plate for out number 2, and that is the 3rd strikeout by Roger Craig. And the batter coming on is Ernie Voglio. Voglio, right-hand batter, bounced back to Roger his first time up. He is 0 for 1. And he hits the first pitch right back to the mound. Craig over, picks it up, throws the first to retire the side. So Roger Craig in the 3rd inning gives up 2 runs on 4 base hits. There were no errors. 2 men were left in the score at the end of 2 1/2 innings of play. St. Louis Cardinals 4, the New York Mets nothing. Now for a change of pace, a musical melody.
New York's first choice is Reingold Extra Dry Beer. It's clean and light and delicious, driving clearly extra dry. You too will find the next time that you buy beer, it's sparkling through so what for you and things will tell you why. Reingold Brew Extra Dry. Yes, Reingold beer is beer to taste because it's extra dry.
Crisp, bright, and clean clear through. Yes, that's the way beer should taste. The way Reingold Extra Dry tastes. Brewed of the choicest ingredients, the long, slow way, Reingold is the largest-selling beer in town. Try it.
Dry beer is Reingold, the dry beer. Think of Reingold whenever you buy beer. It's not bitter, not sweet. It's a dry flavored treat. Won't you try? Extra dry Reingold beer.
It's the bottom half of the 3rd inning. The score 4-0 in favor of the Cardinals as they take the field against the New York Mets. Here in the Met half of the 3rd, the first man up will be Larry Burright. He'll be followed by Clarence Coleman and Ed Kramerpool. They'll be batting against right-hander Ernie Voglio, who so far has given up no runs, allowed only 1 hit. The 1 hit, too, the leadoff man here in the 3rd. Larry Burright singled to center field on a curveball his first time up as a Met batter. Ernie Voglio, who has walked 2, struck out none, and given up 1 hit, gets set to work here in the 3rd. And the right-hander comes in with the first pitch, the fastball right off the top for strike 1. Voglio has a big curve, and he might have hurt himself on that pitch. Time call. Looks as though Voglio might have pulled a muscle in his back. Bowman, the trainer for the Cardinals, has come out to talk to Ernie Voglio, now acting in the Cardinal bullpen. Voglio on that fastball came right off the chop, and after the pitch, he gave an indication that he possibly pulled a muscle in his back. Now it's Johnny Keene coming out. Up in the bullpen for the Cardinals, Bob Gibson, big, strong right-hander. Conference at the mound with Carl Sawatsky, Dick Gross, Ken Boyer, as they wait to see about what might happen. While we have a delay in action, let's take a look at the scores. After 5.5 innings of play in Pittsburgh, the Milwaukee Braves lead the Pirates with Lou Burdett on the mound by a score of 1-0. Going for the Pirates, Bob Friend. Now Voglio is coming back out to the mound. In Chicago, the Dodgers lead the Cubs after an inning and 1/2 of play by a score of 1-0 with Don Drysdale, their big right-hander, going against Larry Jackson. The Giants have scored 4 runs in the top of the 2nd inning to lead Houston 4-0. Jack Sanford going for the Giants. Kirk Bell for the Colt 45. Philadelphia playing in Philadelphia against Cincinnati in the night game. In the American League, the Yankees lead Kansas City 1-0 through 2. Ralph Carey against Segui. Richardson, a home run in the 2nd for the only run of the ball game. Detroit leads Chicago 4-3 through 4 innings. Bunning going for Detroit. Now pitching for the White Sox, Frank Baumann. Now, the first pitch as The right-hander comes in back to work. It's outside for ball one. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ernie Voglio still in the ballgame on the mound. Another baseball action. Cleveland leads Minnesota 1-0 through 1.5. Grant against Pasquale. There's a swing and a foul tip. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And also scheduled in the American League, Boston at Los Angeles. That game a night game. Right here, it's a 4-0 game in favor of the Cardinals. Bottom half of the third with Burright leading off here in the mid half of the inning. 1-2 pitch by Voglio on the outside corner for strike 3 call. Voglio with a fastball picks up a strikeout, his first in the ball game. And with 1 out, the batter will be Clarence Coleman. Clarence Coleman, left-hand batting catcher. He fouled out his first time up. And now Voglio to the left-hand batter with a fastball high, ball 1. Still throwing in the bullpen for the Cardinals, Bob Gibson, big, strong, hard-throwing right-hander. Now Voglio into the swinging back with a fastball, hard ground ball down to Javier at second base. He digs it out, throws him out. 2 men down now, and the batter will be Ed Kranepool. Ed in his Major League debut as a starting player in right field for the Mets. Popped up to the shortstop his first time up. He bats from the left-hand side. For the ball game, not one bit of emotion from Kranepool. It was just like a spring training game. First pitch to the left-hand batter. A hard swing and a miss at a fastball for strike 1. Kranepool was interviewed by all kinds of reporters. He just stood there and took it very nonchalantly. 1 strike pitch, a drive to right center field, but a lot of room there. Going back is Altman. He turns and makes the catch. So Kranepool, a long drive to right center field, 400 feet away, out to retire the side. In the inning for the Mets, 3 up and 3 down, and the score at the end of 3, the Cardinals 4, the Mets nothing. Well, fans, the 1963 official New York Met Yearbook is now available. This colorful book with Mr. Met on the front cover contains over 100 pictures and includes biographical and statistical data about your favorite Met player. In addition, there are stories, of course, about Casey Stengel, all the coaches, Ricky Lavagetto, Solly Hemus, Ernie White. Stories about Shea Stadium, the new scoreboard, and highlights of the 1962 season. They also have some interesting notes on the farm clubs, the men behind the scenes, and many other interesting stories and facts. There is a complete page of players' autographs, so you'll want it just for that. This book will be a real welcome addition to any baseball fan's library, and it will settle a few of those arguments you get into during the season. To obtain your copy of the 63 yearbook, send 50 cents for each copy to Met Yearbook, Polo Grounds, New York 39, New York. That's Met Yearbook, Polo Grounds, New York 39, New York. It's the top of the 4th inning. The Cardinals out in front by 4 runs as they send up Kurt Flood against Roger Craig. And the first pitch to the right-hand batter is a slider over the plate, just above the knees for strike 1. Kurt has singled and walked in his first 2 1963 appearances. Craig back with a fastball. It's low inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kurt also has scored a run. Scored one of the 2 the Cardinals scored in the first inning. There's a curve. It's inside and high, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cardinals scored 2 runs in the first, 2 in the third. They have a total of 8 base hits off Roger Craig as he makes his 1963 debut. Now the pitch back outside and low, a fastball. And Roger falls behind. 3 balls and 1 strike. The on-deck batter, Dick Gross. Craig back to the plate, and a bouncing ball goes down toward third and goes foul. Charlie Neal picks it up on the backhand side. That fills the count out at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Still throwing in the bullpen for the St. Louis Cardinals, Bob Gibson, which might indicate that Ernie Voglio might be going out of the ball game. Here's a 3-2 pitch, a drive to the shortstop, Moran jumps and pulls it down. That ball hit fairly hard off the handle of the bat. Not hard enough to go over the top of Moran's head, and the Cardinals now have one out as Dick Grote comes up. Dick singled to right field, his specialty in the first inning. That moved Curt Flood, who was on second base, over to third, where he scored later on when Bill White hit a sacrifice fly. Here's the first pitch to Dick Grote, a fastball for strike one. Pitch back to Grote, outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dick also has flied to left, so he is 1 for 2 here today. 4-0 game, Cardinals lead. Curve that catches on the outside corner at the knees. A perfect pitch by Roger Craig. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now the right-hander back to the plate, and Grote hits a line shot to left. Thomas moves over to his right, and he pulls it down. 2 men down now, and the batter coming on is Bill White. Bill has 2 runs batted in. 1 on a sacrifice fly to center field, the other on his first home run of the season. So White, after a great spring, starting this year with a good start. Last year, his best major league season. First pitch by Craig is a changeup high for ball 1. Don Roll and Carlton Willie up again in the bullpen for the Mets. The third time they've been up today. Now the 1-0 pitch. Change of pace, it's down low. That was a curve change. 2 balls, no strikes. Top of the 4th inning with the Cardinals leading 4-0. Craig into the windup and back to the plate with a curve. It's low again. Count now 3 balls and no strikes. The on-deck batter, George Altman. Roger Craig on the mound taking the signs from T2 Coleman. And the 3-0 pitch. It's a strike call. That's the high strike right there, the new strike zone. That pitch was up above the letters. White was on his way to first base, but he was called back by Frank Sicori, the home plate umpire. So there's the first real high strike in the new strike zone this year. Count 3 balls and 1 strike. Craig back to the plate, and he misses with a curveball. So White walks. That's walk number 2 issued by Roger Craig in the game. And it will bring up George Altman, who has had a perfect day so far. 2 singles and 2 times up. George Altman, left-hand batter, in the batter's box as Craig set. White at first base, a fast man. Curveball by Craig just off the plate, and Roger didn't like the call. Ball 1. Rogers had 2 balks called on him in this ball game by Frank Sicori. One of them set up a run. The other did not figure at all. Cardinals with 4 runs on 8 hits. The Mets have only 1 hit and no run. Pitch back to Altman. A curve over this time. One ball and 1 strike. Change of pace on the curveball. Took something off of that. A swing and a miss for strike 2. Roger Craig working to George Altman. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Craig sets again and comes back to the plate. There's a curve bounced out toward the mound. Craig comes over, picks it up, falls down, can't make a play. Roger couldn't get the ball out of his glove. As his momentum carried him down to the ground, he couldn't throw the ball. It'll probably go as a base hit. Moving on down to second base on the play is Bill White. It's a base hit. Roger Craig had no chance to make the throw. He just couldn't get in position to do it after falling down trying to get to that slow roller. So it's a base hit. Hit number 9 by the Cardinals in the ball game. And with 2 men out, the Cardinals have runners at first and second, and Ken Boyer at bat. Ken is 1 for 2 so far in the game. He looks at a curve for ball 1. Boyer taking. Boyer singled to left field in the first inning to drive in a run. Cardinals scored 2 in the first and 2 in the third. The only runs of the ball game. Now Craig back to the right-hand batter. Inside for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Boyer last year drove in 98 runs, his personal high, tied his career high. Cardinals with a good batting order. They have good strength. Flood, Grote, White, Altman, Boyer, Musial in the first 6. There's a play on at first base on a pitch, but no chance to get Altman. He got back in a hurry. A pitch out on the play. The count now 2 balls and 1 strike. Tim Harkness behind the runner, coming in back of George Altman. But Altman was back in plenty of time. Roger Craig in the stretch position. Look at second and now back to the plate. A curveball swung on a miss for strike 2. That time Boyer completely fooled on a wide sweeping curveball. That flattens the count out at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. It's the top of the 4th inning. Now Bob Gibson in the bullpen for the Cardinals sitting down. He's completed his warm-up. Here's the 2-2 pitch. A curve this time Boyer looks. It's low for ball 3. In the bottom half of the 3rd inning, Voglio, the starting pitcher, and working to one of the Mets batters, pulled a muscle in his back. He walked off. Went over to the bench, got checked on, but came back out to pitch and complete pitching to Larry Burright. He completed well enough to strike him out. From that action, the Cardinals had Gibson up in the bullpen throwing. Now 3-2. The runners will go. The pitcher is fouled away. So the count will stay at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Returning to second base, Bill White. To first base, George Altman. While we have time here, we'll pause for station identification.
You are tuned to the General Electric station in Schenectady, WGY 810 on your radio dial.
Al Schneider along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from the Polo Ground. It's the top of the 4th inning. The score 4-0 in favor of the Cardinals. Cardinals batting with runners at first and second. And the 3-2 pitch to Boyer. Line to Neal. He comes up with it to retire the side. Charlie Neal with a backhand grab of that hard smash. And another fine play. In the inning for the Cardinals. No runs on 1 hit, no errors. 1 walk, 2 men left. And the score at the end of 3 1/2 innings of play. The Cardinals 4, the New York Mets nothing. And now work the bottom half of the 4th inning, and Duke Schneider comes to bat. When Duke came out of the dugout, he got a big hand. He got a big hand when he was introduced to the crowd by Lindsey Nelson here in the opening day ceremony. But his big hand, as he came out of the dugout, as a result of a real great catch in right center field, making left center field by the Duke. Duke went way to his right in left center field to rob Ken Boyer of a base hit. And Boyer now has been robbed twice as Charlie Neal pulled one away from him to make the last out of the top of the 4th. It's a 4-0 game. The Cardinals lead with Duke Schneider now in the batter's box. The Duke walked his first time up, and the first pitch to the left-hand batter is fouled away, strike 1. Ernie Voglio on the mound for the Cardinals, still throwing. And now up again the bullpen for the Cardinals. Bob Gibson has protection against Voglio's pulled muscle. Voglio, in pitching to Larry Burright in the 3rd inning, pulled a muscle in his back. He went off the field but came back out to complete the inning. Now the 1-strike pitch to Duke Schneider. It's outside for ball 1. Voglio appears to be throwing differently than he did in the first part of the ball game. The fastball not too fast. Now the 1-1 pitch. High again, but fouled away. So the Duke now has a count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Voglio, primarily a curveball pitcher, throwing mostly fastballs now. He has a great curve, a fine slider, and his fastball normally, when working correctly, is held down low and sinks. Now with a 1-2 pitch, he comes back to Schneider, and it's a hanging curve up too high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. It'll be Schneider, Thomas, and Harkness against the right-hander here in the bottom half of the 4th. The Mets need 4 to tie. Now with a 2-2 pitch, Voglio misses on the outside and high for ball 3. So for the second time in the game, Voglio 3-2 to Duke Schneider. His first time, he walked him on the 3-2 curve. Let's see what he throws here. With a 4-0 lead, he might throw the fastball. Here's the 3-2 pitch. It's a curve, a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Duke had a big swing at a high curve, and that is out number 1. It brings up Frank Thomas. That is strikeout number 2 for Ernie Voglio. He has walked 2 batters and given up only 1 hit. The score 4-0 in favor of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals play tomorrow, game time at 2 o'clock. First pitch to Thomas. A swing, a foul back in the screen, strike 1. After the game tomorrow, the Mets will move on to open up the season in Milwaukee on Thursday. They'll have an off day Friday, a single game on Saturday afternoon, a single game on Sunday. Off day Monday, and a single game on Tuesday. There's a drive down the left field line, but foul. That ball way over the roof down the left field line, out of the ballpark completely. So Thomas misses his first home run of the 1963 season by about 25 feet. And the count moves up to 0-2. Frank Thomas with 34 home runs last year for the Mets. Now the 2-strike pitch. It's outside for ball 1. Slider by Voglio. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Thomas flied to left field his first time up. Now the pitch back, a fastball, just missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Voglio swings into the windup and comes back, and there's a high fastball. Check on the swing in time, and the count fills out at 3-2. So Voglio has gone 3-2 to his first 2 men here in the bottom half of the 4th inning as he leads 4-0. On Dick Schneider, he curved him. Here's the windup, and here's the 3-2 pitch. A fastball swing and a miss for strike 3. Strikeout number 3 by Ernie Voglio. 2 here in the 4th inning, and now with 2 men out, the batter will be Tim Harkness. Harkness, a left-hand batter, bounced too short his first time up. Cardinals with 2 runs in the first and 2 in the third. Lead 4-0. First pitch to Harkness is high, curveball, ball 1. Well, I hope you're enjoying this first game of the 1963 season, and I know you'll enjoy Viceroy cigarettes, because Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Here's a foul ball as Harkness goes for the next pitch. It's out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tim Harkness with a very peculiar stance. He points his front foot right directly at the pitcher. Stands with his feet very close together. There's a swing and a miss. Strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bob Gibson still throwing in the bullpen for the Cardinals. Now the windup and the 1-2 pitch. Fastball, he struck him out. A hard swing and a miss, and Voglio in the 4th inning strikes out the stride. The ball was dropped by the catcher, and the play made down to first base. If you're scoring officially, it's a strikeout, and it goes 2-3. In the innings for the Mets, no runs, no hits, no errors, and the score at the end of 4. The Cardinals 4, the New York Mets nothing. Well, Stan Musial leads off for St. Louis against Roger Craig as we go along to the 5th inning. Pitch to Stan the man is outside, ball 1. Musial has 1 for 2. Stan singled to right field his last time up. Of all the St. Louis Cardinals, Stan the man was by far and away the most difficult for the New York Mets to retire last year. In the dirt, partially blocked by a 2-2, 2 balls and no strikes. Last year against the New York Mets, Stan the man hit .468, including 4 home runs and 15 runs batted in. And you'll remember he hit 3 of the 4 in one game right here in the Polo Ground. So Stan Musial appearing in his 21st opening day lineup. Wait. Bounced foul. He barely got a piece of that one. 2 balls and a strike. The game today has been a real struggle for Roger Craig. Roger hasn't been blessed with that usual good, sharp stuff today and has had to really struggle for it. St. Louis, 4 runs, 9 hits, and no errors. New York, no runs, 1 hit, and 2 errors. Now Roger over the head, down comes the arm, and this one has popped up on the left side of the infield. On the skin of the infield path, Al Moran takes it for the out. They say that one of the determining factors between a good pitcher and a so-so pitcher is the pitcher that, when he finds on a certain day he just doesn't have that good stuff, can scramble, battle, tug, pull, do everything possible to hang in there and stay close and give the offense a chance to let him win a ball game, and he normally didn't figure to win. Carl Sawatsky ignores the pitch. It's low and inside, ball 1. Sawatsky beat out an infield hit down the first baseline his last time up. Of the 9 Cardinal hits, about 4 have been of the scratch variety. 1 ball, 1 strike. But in baseball, all things equalize. Kenny Boyer has had 2 hard line drives that have been caught. One by Duke Schneider in the outfield and the other by Charlie Neal at third. The 1-1 delivery. A high fly ball to right field. Eddie Cranepool is moving in. Eddie taps the glove and puts it away for the out. Now there are 2 away, nobody on, and that'll bring up Julian Javier, the fleet-footed second baseman. Cardinals traded away their starting shortstop of the year ago, Julio Gotay, to get the veteran Dick Groat to work with young Julian Javier. Javier, right-hand batter. A fly ball hit in the air to short right field. Cranepool coming hard, makes the catch. Eddie got a slow start on that one and then really had to turn it on to reach it. So Cranepool retires Sawatsky and Javier to side out in the 5th inning with no runs, no hits, no errors, then left on. We've come halfway at the end of 4 1/2 innings. The score, the St. Louis Cardinals 4 and the New York Mets nothing. You know, this year's new enlarged strike zone looks like great news for some pitchers. Gives them more of a chance to work on the hitter. And here's great news for you filter smokers who prefer a crush-proof box. It's Viceroy's new slide top case. It slides right open, slides shut tight. The greatest improvement in cigarette packaging since the flip-open box. And it works far easier. Inside, Viceroy. The filter cigarette that tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Now, you see, if you smoke all 7 leading filter brands, you'll find some taste too strong. They just taste like the unfiltered kind and succeed. And others taste too light. Sort of filter all the fun and flavor out of smoking. But Viceroy's not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Fans get Viceroy in the new slide top case or the familiar soft pack. Now Charlie Neal will lead off for the New York Mets in the last of the 5th inning. Don Rowe continues to work in the bullpen. New York trailing 4-0 now, and they hope to get it going against Ernie Voglio. We're in the last of the 8th inning in Pittsburgh now with the Pirates leading Milwaukee 2-1 on a home run by Bob Bailey. Pitch thrown to Charlie Neal is outside, ball 1. Well, Joe Brown, the general manager of the Pirates, traded off veteran Don Hope to make room for Bob Bailey. And he has the Pirates in front today. Ball 2 outside and high, 2-0. So it's Pittsburgh 2, Milwaukee 1 in the last of the 8th inning. Henley has relieved Burdett, friend pitching for the Pirates. The Dodgers lead the Cubs 1-0 at the end of 4, Drysdale against Jackson. Ball 3 up high, 3-0 on Charlie Neal. Orlando Cepeda and Willie Mays have each homered. Giants leading Houston 5-0 at the end of 3 behind Jack Sanford. Russ Kimmer has replaced Kurt Carl. Now the 3-0 pitch right down the middle for a call strike, 3-1. The Reds and Phillies play tonight in Philadelphia. Now a 3-1 count. Voglio behind on the count. Winds the pitch to Neal. That's over. Charlie taking again. Neal trying to get on with the New York Mets trailing by 4 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Al Moran is the on-deck batter. Now the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. So Ernie Voglio has now struck out 4 in a row. He came from behind. He was trailing Neal 3-0 and came back to Fanning. Voglio now has struck out 5 in the game, but 4 of the 5 have been in the last in succession. In the American League, Ellie Howard hit a 2-run homer in the 4th. Yankees 3, Kansas City nothing at the end of 4. Terry against Diego Seguí. Joe Pepitone homered in the 2nd, nobody on. Now the hitter is Al Moran with 1 out, nobody on. Fastball over, strike 1 call. Detroit leads the White Sox 5-3 at the end of 6. Bunning against Bauman now out in relief. Cleveland 3, Minnesota 1 after 3.5. Off the outside corner now to Al Moran. 1 ball, 1 strike. For Cleveland in the 4th inning, 4 in a row. He came from behind. He was trailing Neal 3-0 and came back to Fanning. Voglio now has struck out 5 in the game, but 4 of the 5 have been in the last in succession. In the American League, Ellie Howard hit a 2-run homer in the 4th. Yankees 3, Kansas City nothing at the end of 4. Terry against Diego Seguí. Joe Pepitone homered in the 2nd, nobody on. Now the hitter is Al Moran with 1 out, nobody on. Fastball over, strike 1 call. Detroit leads the White Sox 5-3 at the end of 6. Bunning against Bauman now out in relief. Cleveland 3, Minnesota 1 after 3.5. Off the outside corner now to Al Moran. 1 ball, 1 strike. For Cleveland in the 4th inning, Fred Whitfield and Max Alvis each homered with the bases empty. The 1-1 pitch. Outside and high to Al Moran. 2 balls and 1 strike. One night game in the American League, the Red Sox on the West Coast against the Angels. A drive in the air to deep left center, but under it is Kurt Flood, and he has it for the out. 2 men down. The ball was hit hard by Moran, and now Roger Craig is coming on to hit. Casey had Rowe warming up in the bullpen, hoping that either Charlie Neal or Al Moran could start something up. Both retired by Voglio, and so now Roger will come on to hit. Ernie Voglio, pitching brilliantly, has now retired 10 straight hitters. Low fastball on the outside corner of the knees, a call strike to Roger Craig. Last man to reach base for New York was Charlie Neal when he drew a walk in the 2nd inning. Call strike. 2 strike count now to Roger Craig. Crowd that is much larger than the crowd that attended the home opener for the New York Mets last year. Weather much better. The enthusiasm has been great. Now Voglio cranking up. The 2-strike pitch just off the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Crowd in the neighborhood of 25,000 today. despite the fact that early this morning the skies were overcast and a light rain fell. Larry Burritt is in the on-deck circle, hoping that Roger can save him a turn at bat here in the last half of the fifth inning. Voglio has allowed just one hit, and that was a single by Burritt in the opening inning. Too high in the count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes. When he faced the Mets a week ago down in Florida, he had great stuff. Mets scored 2 runs off Voglio, but mainly because Voglio in pickoff attempts twice threw the ball away. He had as good a stuff that day as we've ever seen, and he's back with the same stuff today. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That's number 6 for Ernie Voglio. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left on. 5 innings complete. The score, the Cardinals 4 and the New York Mets nothing. Say, what is the one thing most people associate with baseball? Well, I'll bet that if you ask, the answer you'd hear most often is an ice-cold glass of beer. And if those people happen to be New Yorkers, well, then that beer has just got to be Rheingold, New York's favorite. And what accounts for this popularity? 2 words tell you, extra dry. You see, a dry beer is crisp to the taste, more naturally refreshing. And Rheingold is the extra dry beer. Extra dry to be extra refreshing. And after all, isn't that what you want in your beer? Sure it is, so why wait? Order up or pour yourself a glass of refreshing Rheingold and enjoy it along with the game. You'll join the millions of people everywhere who say, my beer is Rheingold the dry beer. It's beer as beer should taste. Now we go to the 6th inning with the Redbirds sending Ernie Voglio up against Roger Craig. He will be followed by Kurt Flood and then by Dick Gross. Cardinals were a hard team for New York in the Polo Grounds last year. They won 7 of the 9. Roger out of his windup pitches to Voglio, and the pitch is a half swing and a strike. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Tomorrow, Casey will have lefty Alvin Jackson on the mound. His mound opponent will be right-hander Ray Washburn. 2-strike delivery. Swing and a miss, strike 3. So Roger Craig disposes of his mound opponent, Ernie Voglio. 1 away now, top of the 6th inning. Center fielder Kurt Flood at the top of the Cardinal batting order has beaten out an infield hit and scored a run, reached on a walk, and lined hard to Al Moran at short. 1 hit and 2 trips. Outside and low, it's ball 1. Craig, wasting no time, comes back to the plate, and it's up high, ball 2, 2-0. Kurt Flood, a 7-year veteran with a lifetime Major League average of 277. For the last 2 years, he has really come on strong as a hitter. The year before last, he hit .322, and last year he hit .296. He holds up and takes the pitch as a strike on the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike to Kurt Flood. Kurt was born in Houston, Texas. Line drive to short center field. It's a base hit. Duke Schneider has to play this one on a hop. And Flood takes the turn. He's on with his 2nd hit of the game. Base hit number 10 for the St. Louis Cardinals. And the hitter will be Dick Gross. Dick has 1 hit, a single to right field behind the runner in the 1st inning and 3 times at bat. Now Craig checks the runner. There goes the runner. The pitch is lined hard toward left field, a base hit. Thomas reaches up, flags it down. Flood is on his way to third. He's being waved around third. He played to the plate by Burritt, not in time. And racing on to second goes Dick Gross. Kurt Flood never slowed up on the play, and he scores all the way from first base. They were playing hit and run. Thomas threw the ball back towards second. And as a result, Flood never broke stride. He comes around to score, and on the throw to the plate from Larry Burright, Dick Grote goes on to second, and the Cardinals now lead 5-0. So gives Dick Grote a single to left. He takes second on the throw, and Curt Flood comes all the way around to score on the hit and run play. So there's an example of a speedy runner scoring from first base on a single. He was in motion on the hit and run. Now the hitter is Bill White. Bill knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly in the first, hit a home run in the third, nobody on, and drew a walk in the fourth inning. So Bill has 1 for 1 as he gets off to an impressive start. Cardinals in today's game so far have had it all. They've had good hitting, superb pitching. Next pitch by Craig is outside, ball 1 to Bill White. Cardinals now have an 11-hit attack. They have 5 runs in. Now Don Rowe is given the sign to go back to work in the bullpen. Don has pitched almost the entire game down in the bullpen. Curve on the inside corner, a call strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. George Altman, the on-deck batter. Then Kenny Boyer. The 1-1 pitch by Craig. He doesn't offer at it, and it's taken ball 2, 2-1. Now rechecking the official scoring on the play in which Curt Flood raced in to score. The official score does not credit Dick Grote with an RBI. The run was permitted to come home on the throw to second. Inside and low. Burright then tried to head Flood off at the plate, but it was not even close. And Grote was able to take second on the throw. The official scorer has the privilege to either credit or not credit an RBI in that type of situation. And he did not feel, obviously, that had the ball been handled properly defensively, that the run would have scored. 3-1 now to Bill White. Foul ball back to the screen, no play, and the count full, 3-2. St. Louis, 5 runs on 11 hits, no errors. New York, no runs, 1 hit, 2 errors. Now Choo-Choo crossed behind the plate. We have a full count on Bill White. Last year was a big one for White. He knocked in over 100 runs. Too highest, ball 4, and he's on. That is the third walk given up by Roger Craig. Now George Altman, the Cardinal cleanup batter, faces Craig with runners on first and second, 1 out. Redbirds with 1 run in. They lead 5-0. Kenny Boyer on deck and then Stan the man. Cardinals have had at least 1 man on base in every inning of the game with the single exception of the 5th inning. In the 5th inning, Musial, Sawatsky, and Javier went down in order. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Now Johnny Keene dispatching someone to the bullpen to carry some information. They had concern over Broglio in the 3rd inning when he appeared to have hurt his back, but he was all right. The curve is popped foul back toward the dugout. Choo-Choo running as hard as he can on the warning track near the dugout, and he can't make the play. The ball hit his glove and skidded off. Real strong effort on the part of Choo-Choo Coleman after a long run across that warning track, which is not easy to run on, and right over by the field box railing, he lunged, the ball hit his mitt, and slid away. Gene Oliver playing catch out in the bullpen. He may take over for Carl Sawatsky later in the game. Actually, Oliver is playing catch with Tim McCarver, so either one of the two might take over the backstopping duties. Now Roger Craig with a 2-strike count on George Altman. Here's the pitch. Curve, he started to go, and he held up just in time. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Choo-choo asking Frank Sikori, the plate umpire, about it. Cardinals leading 5-0, and Johnny Keene now has Charlie James, who oftentimes this summer will serve as Sam Musial's replacement, warming up in the bullpen. Pitching 1-2. Breaking ball low, and the count is even now, 2-2. The game tomorrow here in the Polo Grounds at 2 o'clock, and Al Jackson will be on the mound for New York. His mound opponent will be Ray Washburn. Now Roger Craig looking in. 2-2 on Big George Altman. Altman has a perfect day going, 3 for 3, all singles. Now Craig up in pitching position, delivers off the outside corner, and we have a full count, 3-2. Roger trying to pitch very carefully to dangerous George Altman. He had him 2 strikes, and now the count is 3-2. Now let's keep an eye on the runners. 3-2. There they go. The pitch on the ground hard toward right center. Burright knocks it down. Throws to first. Save at first. He beats it out for an infield hit. And the bases are loaded. Altman with a hard grounder. Burright made a superb play in getting to the ball. He made a head-first dive, leaving his feet. Smothered it, scrambled to his feet. Threw to Harkness. Not quite in time. The bases are loaded, and Kenny Boyer is coming up. And now Casey Stengel is moving toward the mound. So while Casey goes out to the mound to talk to Roger Craig, and we will have a pitching change made with Don Rowe coming in to replace Roger Craig, while the trip is being made to the mound by Don Rowe, we'll pause for station identification.
This is WGY 810 on your radio dial. Schenectady.
Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Schneider from the Polo Grounds. Casey Stengel is removing Roger Craig from the ballgame now with the bases loaded, 1 out, and bringing in southpaw Don Rowe. While the teams are changing sides, or rather while the pitching change is being made, we'll bring you up to date on scores of the other National League and American League openers. In the home opener for Pittsburgh, they go to the 9th inning now, with Danny Murtaugh's Bucks leading the Milwaukee Braves 2-1. Bob Friend pitching for Pittsburgh. Bob Henley replaced Lou Burdett in the 8th inning, and Smokey Burgess and Bob Bailey have homered for the 2 Pittsburgh runs. They're in the last half of the 5th inning at Wrigley Field. The Dodgers lead the Cubs 1-0. John Drysdale for the Dodgers and Larry Jackson for the Chicago Cubs. With Orlando Cepeda and Willie Mays connecting for home runs with the bases empty, the San Francisco Giants lead Houston 5-0 at the end of 3.5. Jack Sanford for the Giants. Les Kimmer relieved Bert Farrell in the 4th inning for Houston. In the American League, Joe Pepitone has homered nobody on, and Ellie Howard has hit one with a man on. The Yankees lead Kansas City 3-0 after 4. Ralph Terry for the Yankees, and Dave Wickersham has replaced starter Diego Segui for Kansas City. At the end of 6 innings, with Gus Triandos and Pete Ward hitting home runs, Ward in the 7th with 2 men on, the White Sox have come from behind and gone in front of Detroit by a score of 6-5. Ward hit a home run in the 7th, 2 men on. They are still batting. So with the White Sox hitting in the 7th inning, they lead Detroit 6-5. Herbert, Joyce, and Bauman for Chicago, bunting for Detroit. A lot of home runs in the Cleveland-Minnesota game. Honey Romano, Lenny Green, Fred Whitfield, and Max Alvis all connecting. All 4 home runs with nobody on. And it's Cleveland 3, Minnesota 1 at the end of 3.5. Mudcat Grant against Camilo Pascual. Tonight, the Red Sox and the Angels play in Los Angeles. Now Don Rowe is set to go to work with the bases loaded, 1 out, and the pitch to Boyer is a strike on the outside corner at the knee. Don Rowe, an 11-game winner with Columbus last season. Veteran southpaw of several top-notch high minor league seasons, walking into a very tough situation. Don from Compton, California, and his pitch is off the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kenny Boyer. Don Rowe is a 6-footer. He's 27 years old. He has quite an assignment here. Bases loaded, 1 down, and Kenny Boyer the batter. Dick Grote is the lead runner at third. Bill White at second, and George Altman at first. It's thrown to Boyer. A ground ball hits the shortstop. Moran juggles the ball, throws to second. He's out on a forced play, and a run comes in. Smith had a chance for 2 there, but the grounder was juggled by Al Moran in his anxiety. So they get the forced play on George Altman. Moran to Burright. Dick Grote comes in to score. Boyer reaches on the fielder's choice. And the Cardinals have runners at first and third. The runner starts the starter, Roger Craig. Runners on first and third now. There are 2 away, Musial up. And a box is called on Don Rowe that will bring in a run from third base, Bill White, and send Kenny Boyer to second. That is the 3rd time in this ball game today that a balk has been called on the New York Mets. 2 were called on Roger Craig for failing to make the 1-second stop, and now 1 has been called on lefty Don Rowe. That enables Bill White to come in case he wants to talk to Frank Secori. Talking to umpire Frank Secori. Casey didn't like that call one little bit. Casey wants to be satisfied as to why it was called by umpire Frank Secori. And the wonderful crowd here in the Polo Grounds is really lending Casey a lot of support. Now Casey putting on the pantomime on the box, telling Don Rowe not to take any chances, to be sure and make that full 1-second stop. So Bill White has come in to score, and Kenny Boyer has gone to second on the 3rd balk called against the Mets today. 1 ball and no strikes on Stan Musial. Pitch to Musial is in the dirt. Kuchar digs it out, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. Check the count, 1 ball and no strikes, because on the first one the balk was called. Stan the man has 1 for 3, a single to right field. Got his base hit in the 3rd inning and knocked a run in. Now Don Rowe delivers low and outside, ball 2, 2-0. Cardinals now have 7 runs on 12 hits. They lead 7-0. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Now Rowe up in pitching position. Delivers to the plate. And it's low. Stan takes it. Ball 3, 3-0. Now Gene Oliver has come in from the left field bullpen, and he'll probably take over for Carl Sawatsky. Charlie James has come in, and he may replace Stan Musial in left field. Don Rowe behind on Musial, 3-0. Pitch is over for a call strike, and Stan was taking all the way. Now it's 3-1 on Musial. We saw more balks called during spring training this spring than any spring that we can remember. And if today is any indication, they're not stopping with spring training. Now Musial twisting around, getting ready to cock that bat. Count 3-1 as Don Rowe fusses with the pitching mound. Rowe is normally a very fast worker. When he has his good control and good stuff going, he works lightning fast. 3-1 pitch, inside, ball 4, and Musial walks. Now we're going to get a runner for Sam Musial. It'll be Charlie James. Here's the hand from Musial.
For St. Louis, running for Musial, number 23, Charlie James.
Now Charlie James,
Number 23.
former football star at the University of Missouri, is on to run for Musial. Charlie got his chance to play regularly for the Cardinals last year when Minnie Minoso was hurt. And he made the most of it and wound up with a good year. Carl Sawatsky hitting the pitch by Don Rowe. A swing and a miss on a fastball down around the knees. For those of you joining us late, St. Louis scored 2 in the first. They scored 2 more in the third to lead 4-0. They have 3 runs in here in the 6th inning. They now lead 7-0. They won on opening night in St. Louis a year ago, 11-4. Ground ball on the right side of the diamond. Burr right in front of it. Throws on to Harkness, and the side is out. The youthful infield of the New York Mets, as you would expect, has been a little bit jittery before the big crowd on opening day. In the 6th inning, 3 runs. 3 hits. No errors. And 2 left on. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left on. At the end of 5.5 now, the score, St. Louis 7 and New York nothing. Larry Burritt has the only hit given up in the game by Voglio, and that was a single to center field in the 1st inning. Voglio has been sizzling. This thrown by the right-hander is a fastball to start him off at its high. 1 ball and no strike. Voglio has retired the last 11 New York Mets hitters. Way inside, and Larry jumps out of the way. Ball 2. Against Voglio, only 3 men have reached base. Burr right on a single. Duke Schneider and Charlie Neal each threw a walk. Well, for those of you who couldn't be here for the excitement of the opening day, we hope we'll see you tomorrow. This pitch is over for a call strike. 2-1 now to Larry Burritt. Next pitch on the way. Foul ball veering back toward the upper deck behind home plate. Kenny Boyer gave it a run, but it's far out of his reach. The count is even now at 2-2. Well, the Milwaukee Braves have something going in the 9th inning in Pittsburgh, trailing 2-1. They got a run and tied the ball game, so now it's 2-2 in the last of the 9th inning. A fly ball going foul down the right field line in the upper deck. Now the Pirates are hitting in the last of the 9th against the Braves with a chance to win it. Elroy Faith had to come on to put down the Brave uprising. A line drive in the air to left center field. Kurt Flood getting over. He's there and makes the catch. So now Voglio, the right-hander and a great curveball pitcher being counted on by Johnny Keene to lead his mound staff, has retired 12 straight men. Boy, you could tell Voglio was ready to open the season when you saw him a week ago down in Florida. He gave up only 2 hits that day, and he had a tremendous curveball. Now Choo-Choo is the hitter. Choo-Choo has fouled to the catcher and grounded out second to first. He leans and takes. Ball 1. Friday night, April 19th, Saturday and Sunday, a doubleheader with the Braves. Outside to high. Ball 2, 2-0. Let's check that. I think I said Friday night. It is Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and a doubleheader Sunday. Beg your pardon. Now the 2-0 pitch. 2-2 hits it off the 5th. It's foul. Back upstairs. No play. 2-1. One away, nobody on. Bottom half of the sixth inning. Cardinals 7 and the Mets nothing. Eddie Cranepool waiting on deck, and then Duke Schneider. A fly ball hit high in the air to right field. It's deep. Back on the warning path is Altman right against the wall. He has it. George Altman had just enough room to take that one. He had his back right up against the wall in right field and made the grab. You know, there's no time like the present, and what better way to use it than to pour yourself a tall, cold glass of Rheingold Extra Dry. You know, Rheingold is pure as beer should taste, and dry tells you why. Now, Eddie Cranepool is up. Foul ball back, no play. Well, Eddie, I think, has conducted himself extremely well on this opening day. Made a good throw from the outfield, made a good play in the outfield, and hit a 400-foot fly ball that was caught. Eddie is 0 for 2 in the game. Curve ball, he looks it over, follows it right into that catcher's mitt. It's inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Voglio has really been tough. Has retired 13 straight hitters. Eddie Cranepool waiting now for Voglio. The 1-1 pitch. Fastball off the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. Alvin Jackson, who beat Bob Gibson 1-0 out in St. Louis in one of the great games of last season, will be Casey's hurler tomorrow against Dan Musial and Company. They'll be pitching Ray Washburn. Fouled upstairs, no play. 2-2. Duke Schneider crouched in the on-deck circle. Now Voglio checking with battery mate Carl Sawatsky. The only change made by Johnny Keene was Charlie James going to left field. And the ball is fouled off the fifth toward the box seats. Running hard is Kenny Boyer, but it drops into the field boxes and bounces far out of his reach. Cardinals wound up last year 84 wins and 78 losses. They went into the trading market during the winter to beef up their attack. The 2-2 delivery. A changeup hit high in the air, a fly ball on the left side of the diamond. Calling for it is Dick Gross, and Dick makes the grab on the left side of the infield. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. And now at the end of 6th, the score, the St. Louis Cardinals, 7 runs, 12 hits, no errors. The New York Mets, no runs, 1 hit, and 2 errors. So we'll be going along to the 7th inning of our opening day game here in the Polo Grounds. And it's our pleasure as we get set here on opening day to move into the new 1963 season with not only a man who is a top performer, but a top guy, Lindsey Nelson.
Thank you very much, Bob Murphy. You know, in addition to having many new faces on this club, the Mets also have a brand new official song this year called Meet the Mets, which many of you fans have probably already heard. This catchy 45 RPM record with 2 versions of the song, one with vocal, the other strictly instrumental, is now available. As there are only a limited number of first edition records available, you'll want to get in on the bandwagon right away. As a baseball fan, of course, you'll want this highly prized souvenir item in your collection. And to obtain your copy of the Meet the Mets record, send $1 to Met Official Song, Polo Grounds, New York, 39, New York. Once again, $1 to Met Official Song, Polo Grounds, New York, 39, New York. Julian Javier, right-hand batter's at the plate as left-hander Don Rowe deals in there for a called strike one as we start the top half of the 7th inning here. Through 6 innings, the St. Louis Cardinals have 7 runs on 12 hits and no errors. The New York Mets have no runs on 1 hit and 2 errors. That pitch is low and away for a ball. It's 1-1 now to Julian Javier, the right-hand batter and speedster. Johnny Keene has him batting number 8 in the batting order this year. Swinging a ground ball on the third baseline. Neal charges it up with it across the diamond in time, and he got it. So Julian Javier has grounded out third to first. Charlie Neal across to first baseman Tim Harkness. And that brings up pitcher Ernie Voglio for the Cardinals. Voglio has been up 3 times, grounded out pitch to the first, grounded out pitch to the first, and struck out swinging. Here's the final score. In the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates have defeated the Milwaukee Brewers 3-2. For the Pirates, 3 runs, 10 hits, no errors. For Milwaukee, 2 runs, 7 hits, and no errors. The winning pitcher is Roy Face in relief. Bob Friend started. Neal in the 9th, and Face in the 9th. Lou Burdette was the starting pitcher for Milwaukee. Bob Henley relieved him in the 8th inning and was the loser. Home runs by Smokey Burgess and Bob Bailey in the ballgame. But the Pirates have won it. Pitch is low for a ball. And here's a pitch in there for a called strike to Voglio. Check the count. It's 2-strike count, not a Voglio. It's low, 1-2. John Rowe in relief of Roger Craig here at the Polo Grounds in New York on opening day of the National League season here. Overhand fastball in there for a called strike 3, and he got him looking. That is Rowe's first strikeout. 2 men out, nobody on base for the Cardinals, and leadoff man Kurt Flood coming up. Flood is 2 for 3 and a walk today. Actually, it is Flood who started the troubles for the Mets in the very top half of the first inning. He did it with a little nubber of a ground ball. That pitch is low for a ball. He hit it down the third baseline, a little slow roll, and Charlie Neal had to try to make the bare hand play and threw it away at first, and Flood went on to second base, and that's the way the ball game began. Here's a swing and a high fly ball to center. Duke Schneider settles in underneath. He's chapped and he's waiting, and Schneider puts it away for the out. As Don Rose sets the Cardinals down in order here in the top half of the 7th with no runs on no hits, no errors, and none left. And at the end of 6 1/2 innings of play at the Polo Grounds in New York, the score is the St. Louis Cardinals 7, the New York Mets nothing. Well, you know, there are a lot of wonderful people out here taking a bit of a stretch here now. This New York area has just about everything. These people, of course, think it's the most wonderful place in the world. Yes, sir, you name it, New York's got it. Parks, beaches, baseball, football, golf, lakes, amusements. People in New York have a lot to choose from, and, of course, that goes for beers, too. There are quite a few brands of beer on the market, and I think it's really something that of all the brands of beer available, New Yorkers have made Rheingold Extra Dry their favorite. That's quite a tribute to the quality of Rheingold. Rheingold is brewed of the choicest ingredients, brewed the long, slow, costly way, the extra dry way. And Extra Dry tells you why Rheingold is so wonderful, so much more refreshing. It's beer as beer should taste, brisk and bright and clean, clear through. So why not enjoy the extra refreshment of Rheingold Extra Dry beer along with the game? Join all the millions who say, my beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. We'll be going here to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Ernie Voglio still taking his warm-up tosses since he was up in the last inning, and waiting around to step into the batter's box for the New York Mets is Duke Schneider. Duke has been up twice. He walked and he struck out swinging, has turned in one sparkling catch in center field. The Cardinals are leading in this game by a score of 7-0. And as we wait for Voglio, we'll run down the scores to bring you up to date. As we told you, the Pirates defeated the Milwaukee Braves today 3-2. Through 6 innings of play in Chicago, it's the Dodgers 2 and the Chicago Cubs 1. Drysdale against Jackson. Through 5 1/2 in Houston, it is the San Francisco Giants 6 and the Houston Colts 45-0. Stanford started for San Francisco. Fisher in the 6th. Dick Farrell started for Houston. Cameron in the 4th. Woodyshook in the 5th. Cepeda and Willie Mays have hit home runs. Cincinnati plays in Philadelphia tonight. So that's the way things are going today in the National League. Right now, Duke Schneider is up and waiting. He's a left-hand batter, of course. Voglio has given up only 1 hit to the Mets. Here's a swing and a miss. Strike 1. Larry Burright singled to center to open the ball game for the Mets in the bottom of the 1st, and that's the only base hit the Mets have had. Voglio has walked 2. Cardinals have committed no errors. That pitch is low for a ball. Voglio again getting a sign from catcher Carl Sawatsky into the pitching motion. It's on the way, high and away for a ball. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Schneider with Frank Thomas waiting around on deck. A fine opening day crowd here at the Polo Grounds. Here's a swing and a ground ball to third. Ken Boyer has it. Plays it across the diamond to White in time, and Duke Schneider has grounded out third to first. One man out, nobody on base. Frank Thomas coming up. He has slid to left and struck out swinging. The official paid attendance here this afternoon, 25,849. Service personnel, 1,376. The total attendance, 27,225. Last year's attendance on opening day here at the Polo Grounds was 12,347. Voglio with the pitch to Thomas. Swung on, and as a one-hopper fielded by Boyer at third, a gun across the first in time. Boyer went down on one knee and leaned back to take that one on one hop. A line drive and a one-hopper off the bat of Thomas. Two men out, nobody on base, and first baseman Tim Harkness coming up. He had grounded out short to first and struck out swinging. So the New York Mets in attendance went from an opening day crowd of some 12,000 last year to an opening day crowd of some 27,000 this year. Here is the pitch. Coming in low for a ball. Charlie Neal now on deck for the Mets. Swinging a high pop foul that could be a play for Sawatsky as he comes back. Can't get to it. Shot a play. 1-1. Foul went all the way to the barrier. Sawatsky, of course, is a veteran Major League performer. He got the opening nod from manager Johnny Keane, partially because of the fact that the New York Mets were pitching a right-hander and he wanted to get the left-hand batter in there. Gene Oliver will be splitting the duty with him, and young Gene Oliver is a right-hand batter and a power hitter. Again, Voglio with the pitch to Harkness and a tying away for a ball. 2-1. Voglio has retired 16 consecutive batters. Here's a swing and a fly ball to right center that's going to send Flood back there, and he is there, and he makes the catch. So Harkness is out on a long fly ball to Kurt Flood in center, as again the Mets are out in order in the bottom of the seventh with no runs on no hits, no errors, and none left. The end of 7 full innings of play at the Polo Grounds in New York. The score is the St. Louis Cardinals 7 and the New York Mets nothing. Well, tomorrow the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Mets will be going again at 2 p.m. New York time. And then the Mets, right after tomorrow's game, will be hitting the road, going out to Milwaukee and on to Cincinnati before returning here on Friday the 19th for a game of the Milwaukee Braves. So if you haven't had a chance to get out and see baseball this year, come on out tomorrow. The New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals here. Manager Johnny Keane with a club here, of course, that scored 7 runs today, one of the most powerful in the National League. Not only with Stan the Man Musial, but hitters like Bill White, George Altman, Dick Groat, Ken Boyer. It's a batting order that is sure to score some runs this season, and they scored them here at the Polo Grounds this afternoon. So come out and take a look at the Mets and the Cards tomorrow afternoon. Right now, we'll be going to the top half of the 8th inning with Don Rowe, the left-hander, still working for the New York Mets. Dick Groat steps into the batter's box. Groat is 2 for 4 this afternoon in his first day ever in a National League game for anybody other than the Pittsburgh Pirates. But he's wearing a Redbird uniform this season, and he takes a call, strike 1. Ray Washburn scheduled to be the Cardinal pitcher tomorrow. Al Jackson scheduled to go for the Mets. There is a pitch low for a ball. It's 1-1. Don Rowe is a draft selection of the New York Mets off the Columbus roster. He was the property of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pitch is low and away, comes all the way back. No damage done. There are no base runners. It's 2 balls and 1 strike now to Dick Groat. He had a single in the first inning, and he had a sharp single in the 6th inning. There's a pitch high for a ball. Bill White is on deck. Here's a 3-1 pitch. In there for a call, strike 2. So we'll have a payoff pitch from Don Rowe to Dick Groat. And it's on the way. Swung on and lined into center. Schneider coming fast. We're going to have to play this one on a hop, and it's a third base hit. for Dick Grote today as he opens up the top of the eighth right now in order to allow our stations to identify themselves. We pause now for station identification.
You are listening to WGY, WGFM, the General Electric Station's Schenectady.
Here's Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at the Polo Grounds. Bill White is up. Rose pitch rocks him back a little high, a little tight. It's ball one. Choo-Choo started to throw back, and White right on the line, so Choo-Choo had to hold up for a moment. Ball one to Bill White with Dick Grote, the base runner at first. That hit by Grote was the first hit for the Cardinals off row. Here's a swing and a drive foul on the left field line. Big George Altman is in the on-deck circle now for the St. Louis Cardinals. Rowe checks the runner at first as Grote leads off, and here is a pitch that's high. Two balls and one strike to count now to Bill White. And again the pitch. One run has a ground ball going towards second. Burright up with it, plays over to Moran. He's out, and there is no relay to first base. As Grote sliding in kept Moran from cutting loose to throw to first. So it goes as a forced play as White has forced Grote going from Burright to Moran. So now Bill White becomes the base runner at first, and George Altman is coming up. Altman has been up 4 times today, and he has 4 base hits. John Rowe up and into the strike. And here's the pitch. Swung on. Little Nebber's foul. Out of play. Strike one to count. Well, the new acquisitions of the Cardinals have paid off certainly on this opening day as Dick Grote is 3 for 5 and Altman is 4 for 4. They were required to beef up the batting order, and they've done that today. Here's a swing and a high pop to the left side. Thomas coming in. Moran is out. Moran calls, and the shortstop puts it away. 2 men out. Bill White holds at first base. No advance there. And that will bring up Kenny Boyer. Boyer is 1 for 4, although he has driven in 2 runs today. Lined out to Schneider, who made a great running catch of his drive in the top of the third, and lined out to Charlie Neal at third base in the 4th inning. Rowe checks as White leads at first base. Swinging a ground ball foul right off his ankle. So it goes as a foul strike. Charlie James is swinging the bat on deck now. He came in as a pinch runner for Stan Musial after Musial walked in the top of the 6th. Stan today was 1 for 3 and a walk. Drove in a run. Musial got a tremendous ovation when he was introduced here before the start of today's ball game. Duke Schneider got a tremendous ovation also. So did Gil Hodges, for that matter. 2 men out. Bill White holds at first base. No advance there. And that will bring up Kenny Boyer. Boyer is 1 for 4, although he has driven in 2 runs today. Lined out to Schneider, who made a great running catch of his drive in the top of the 3rd, and lined out to Charlie Neal at third base in the 4th inning. Rowe checks as White leads at first base. Swinging a ground ball foul right off his ankle. So it goes as a foul strike. Charlie James is swinging the bat on deck now. He came in as a pinch runner for Stan Musial after Musial walked in the top of the 6th. Stan today was 1 for 3 and a walk. Drove in a run. Musial got a tremendous ovation when he was introduced here before the start of today's ball game. Duke Schneider got a tremendous ovation also. So did Gil Hodges, for that matter. Here's the pitch. It's a called strike. At the knees, it's 2-strike count now to Ken Boyer. Rowe checks again as White leads at first base, and the pitch. Breaking ball swung out and missed. Strike 3, struck him out. That's the 2nd strikeout for Rowe. And in the top half of the 8th, the Cardinals are out with no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left at the end of 7.5 innings of play. At the Polo Grounds, the score is the St. Louis Cardinals 7, the New York Mets nothing, and now a word from Viceroy Cigarette.
the Brothers Four with a song about cigarettes.
One fine day, my Marianne tried 7 leading filters, every brand. She said some taste too strong and some too light, but Viceroy's got the taste that's right.
Marianne, my Marianne tells everyone with joy, there simply is no filter smoking like Viceroy, so don't bother with the others. Yes, Viceroy's famous taste.
Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste.
So, folks, take a tip from my Marianne. It's time that you switch to the Viceroy brand. They're not too strong and not too light. They've got the taste that's right. Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste.
Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. That's right.
We'll be going to the bottom half of the 8th inning here now at the Polo Grounds in New York, and the New York Mets will send up Charlie Neal. Ernie Voglio is on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals. He has fashioned a fine performance here through 7 innings. He has allowed the Mets no runs on only 1 hit. The hit was a single by Burright to open up the bottom half of the 1st inning. Galen Cisco is throwing in the bullpen now for the New York Mets, because pitcher Don Rowe is due to be up 3rd man in this inning in case he Singer wants to have a pitcher ready in case Neal or Moran can start something. Voglio with a pitch swung on and foul back. It's strike 1. Voglio has retired 17 consecutive Mets. The last Met base runner was Charlie Neal, who's up there right now. He walked in the bottom half of the 2nd inning. Mets have had only 3 base runners today. There's a swing and a miss. Strike 2 count. Burright single in the 1st. Schneider walked in the 1st. Neal walked in the 2nd. And since then, Voglio has been invincible. This is a fellow you'll recall who won 21 games for the Cardinals in 1960. And the next season, 61, came up with a sore arm. Swinging a foul ball back onto the screen. Count holds at 2 strikes. Voglio in Florida this year looked razor sharp, and he has been that out here this afternoon. Cardinals are counting on Voglio, Washburn, and Gibson to be the big 3 of the hurling staff. 2 strike pitch. Swung on, and there's a high pop back of 2nd. Javier is there, and the 2nd baseman puts it away. Charlie Neal is popped out, and now Voglio has retired 18 consecutive batters, with Al Moran coming up. The 24-year-old Mets shortstop is fouled out to the catcher and flied out to center field. Miles Throneberry has come out on deck now to bat for Don Rowe. Miles Throneberry is out on deck as a prospective pinch hitter, with Galen Cisco still throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. That pitch is outside for ball 1 to Al Moran. Played at Dallas-Fort Worth last year in the American Association and at Vancouver, the property then of the Boston Red Sox. Overhand pitch is high. It's 2-0. Crowd of some 27,000 on hand here this afternoon to see opening day, and that is a big crowd in New York on opening day. Pitch is in there for a called strike. 2-1 now to Moran. Strangely enough, through the years, New York has never been an overwhelming opening day town. It's been a great holiday town. Pitch is high and tight. 3-1. But this is a big opening day crowd of some 27,000. 3-1 pitch now to Moran, and it's in there for a called strike. It's out full now. It's 3-2. The Cardinals are leading by a score of 7-0. Cardinals have their 7 runs on 13 hits. The Mets have no runs on 1 hit. Here's a payoff pitch from Voglio to Moran. Swung on and has a high pop foul coming back. Sawatsky has a play. In front of the Cardinal dugout, he takes it for the out. So Moran has fouled out to Sawatsky, and here is Miles Throneberry. You'll hear an announcement in a moment and a reaction, I'm sure. And there's Here's the crowd reaction to the announcement of Morris Thornberry batting for Don Rowe. Rowe, incidentally, has turned in a fine relief stint here in relief of Roger Craig. Cardinals managed only one hit in 2 2/3 innings off Rowe and no runs. Pitch to Thornberry is high and tight for a ball. Marvelous Marr, the left-hand batter. Again, Voglio with the pitching motion swung on and fouled back. 1-1 to Thornberry. We're in the bottom half of the 8th inning. 2 men out, nobody on base for the Mets. Voglio again looks in for a sign from Carl Sawatsky. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, and there she took a lot off of that one. Had him out in front. If I were you, I sure know what I'd be doing right now. I'd be pouring myself up a tall, frosty glass of Rheingold Extra Dry, because Rheingold seriously should taste, and dry tells you why. So, enjoy it. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Thornberry. Way high. It's 2-2. Voglio's pitch swung on and missed strike 3. Thornberry is out swinging. That is strikeout number 7 for Voglio. He now has retired 20 consecutive batters in the bottom half of the 8th. The Mets got no runs on, no hits, no errors, none left. The end of 8 full innings of play. The score is the St. Louis Cardinals 7 and the New York Mets nothing. The New York Mets opening up a new season here this afternoon with a new team, and we hope a lot of new fans. Some 27,000 out here this afternoon. New York, of course, was strong in its support of the New York Mets last year. This is a New York team owned by New Yorkers for New Yorkers. And there are Met ticket officers, the east side, west side, all around the town. There's one here at the Polo Grounds, 8th Avenue side, ground level. At the advanced ticket window. It's open 7 days a week. At the Vanderbilt Avenue ramp in Grand Central Station, there's a Met ticket office. In the Long Island waiting room at Pennsylvania Station, there's a ticket office. Reservations may also be obtained at any Howard clothing store in the metropolitan area. And if you want to shop by mail, write the ticket manager, the Polo Grounds, New York 39, New York. Galen Cisco is coming on now to pitch. Galen Cisco is the Met pitcher. As Rowe pitched 2 2/3 innings in which he gave up no runs on 1 hit. He struck out 2 and he walked none. So a very fine performance by reliever Don Rowe. And this is Galen Cisco, who came to the Mets to tag into last season from the Boston Red Sox. And while Cisco is warming up, we'll check scores for you. In the National League, the Pittsburgh Pirates defeated Milwaukee 3-2. In the National League, at the end of 7.5, it is the Los Angeles Dodgers 3 and the Chicago Cubs 1. It's Drysdale against Schultz right now. The end of 6.5, the San Francisco Giants 6 and the Houston Colt 45s 2. It's Fisher against Brunette right now. Cepeda has homered. Willie Mays has homered. Willie McCovey has homered. Cincinnati had Philadelphia tonight. In the American League, at the end of 7.5 innings of play, it is the New York Yankees 8 and Kansas City nothing. Terry against Fister right now. Joe Pepitone has hit 2 home runs. Howard has hit 1, and Bryan is homered in the 8th inning now, so that Kansas City has scored in the bottom half of the 8th, and they're still batting. The Chicago White Sox defeated the Detroit Tigers 7-5. At the end of 7.5 innings of play, it's the Cleveland Indians 5 and the Minnesota Twins 3. Boston and Los Angeles tonight. And now Galen Cisco into the windup, and the first pitch, Charlie James, the right-hand batter, is low for ball 1. Top half of the 9th inning, where the Cardinals at bat. There's a pitch swung on and chopped off foul. Strike 2 count. To Charlie James. Cisco into the windup and the pitch. Swung on. That's a ground ball up the middle. Going to be a tough chance for Burrard. He's over. He'll have a snap throw, and just in time, he got him. Charlie James is a fast man, a former football star at the University of Missouri. He gets down to first base in a hurry, but Larry Burrard had to snap the throw after he went to his right to take the ground ball behind the bag. So there is 1 away, and Carl Sawatsky is coming up. Left-hand batter. Sawatsky is 1 for 4 today. It's likely that the Cardinals will have young Gene Oliver behind the plate tomorrow with a left-hander going for the Mets. Al Jackson. Cardinals will be pitching another right-hander, young Ray Washburn. The Cardinals are leading the Mets by a score of 7-0 here. Cisco looking in for a sign from 2-2 Coleman. As a swing is driving to left field, going to be a base hit. Frank Thomas is over deep, comes up with it, snaps it back in, and Sawatsky with a wide turn comes to a skidding halt at first. He has his second base hit of the day, a single to left. With one man out, Julian Javier is coming up. Struck out swinging, slide to right, grounded out third to first. Ed Bauta is throwing in the bullpen now for the St. Louis Cardinals. Bauta and Javier were the men that came to the St. Louis Cardinals in 1960 from the Pittsburgh organization in exchange for Vinegar Ben Mizell. Cisco checks the runner at first base, and here's the pitch. Swung on a ground ball back to Cisco. He goes to second base to Burright. He's out, short of first. He's safe. Beats the relay. Javier, of course, has speed to burn, but he needed all he had there. He got there just by inches ahead of the relay from Larry Burright on over to Tim Harkness. They got the force. It goes 1-4. The play went from Galen Cisco to Larry Burright. Coming up is Ernie Voglio with 2 men out and a runner at first. What a ball game Voglio has pitched here this afternoon. Casey Singer would say you would have to say that he is off to a great start toward another great season. It's low for a ball. Of course, manager Johnny Keane indicated what the Cardinals thought of the form that has been shown by Voglio by electing him to start the opening day game here. The Cardinals and the Mets here tomorrow afternoon again at 2 p.m. He's running, and the pitch is low. Choo-choo throws to Burright. He is out at second base, right on the money. A perfect throw by Choo-choo Coleman right on the bag to get Javier. Burright put the tag on him. In the top of the ninth, the Cardinals got no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and none left at the end of 8.5 innings of play. The score is the St. Louis Cardinals 7. And the New York Mets, nothing. Let's listen now to an old favorite brought up to date.
Rheingold Extra Dry Beer is the name of my beer. Brisket, bright, refreshing brew. Rheingold flavors clean clear through. It's not sweet or bitter. That's why folks consider Rheingold is the beer to buy. And Dry will tell you why. Rheingold Extra Dry has friends by the millions because it's beer as beer should taste. Brisk, bright, and clean clear through. Dry tells you why. Slowly age full flavor. Rheingold taste to savor. Here is beer as beer should taste. That's the reason to make haste. Next time you're out shopping in a tavern popping, why not sing out clear and high? Rheingold Extra Dry. My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Think of Rheingold whenever you buy beer. It's not bitter, not sweet. It's a dry flavor treat. Won't you try Extra Dry Rheingold beer?
On opening day at the Polo Grounds, we go now to the bottom half of the 9th inning with Ernie Voglio still out there firing down the warm-up tosses. And in case you've joined us along, he's given up only 1 hit. And that was to Larry Burright, who opened up for the Mets in the bottom half of the 1st inning. And since then, Voglio has pitched no-hit baseball. In this inning, he will be facing Burright, Coleman, and Cranepool. Ernie Voglio has retired 20 consecutive batters, going back to a walk given up to Charlie Neal with 1 man out in the 2nd inning. So one does not hurl much better on opening day than Voglio has pitched here today. Burright steps into the batter's box, right-hand batter, 1 for 3 today. Wind up in the pitch. Overhand curveball in there for a called strike 1. Through 8.5 innings, the Cards have 7 runs on 14 hits. The Mets no runs on 1 hit. That pitch is low and away. It is 1-1 to Larry Burright. 2-2 Coleman on deck. And the 1-1 pitch. is high for a ball. It's 2-1. Voglio looking into Carl Sawatsky to get his sign. Starts the pitching motion. The 2-1 pitch swung on, and after driving to left field for another base hit for Burright. Going all the way to the corner. Burright turns first, heading for second. Charlie James up with the ball. Larry Burright has a double. Hey, listen to that crowd. Well, that's the Polo Grounds crowd for you. They're still here, still yelling for a base hit in the bottom half of the ninth inning with the Mets trailing by 7 runs. Conference at the mound now. Sawatsky's out there, Boyer's out there, Voglio's out there, and Ed Barhuda is still scoring in the bullpen for the St. Louis Cardinals. Choo-Choo Coleman standing around, and umpire Frank Sikori moves out a few feet in front of the plate. He'd like to get the action started. The Mets have 2 hits. Both of them by former Dodger Larry Burright. Choo-Choo Coleman, wide sense to plate, left-hand batter. Had a long fly ball, missed being a homer by about a foot in the bottom of the 6th. There's a swing and a miss. He took a riffle at the fastball. Ed Kranepool is on deck for the New York Mets. Crowd is buzzing. Well, they come out to the Polo Grounds to enjoy themselves, and they've done a lot of that. Swinging a high foul ball backing out of play. There was a lot of opening day entertainment here. There was an early crowd. Vincent Lopez and his orchestra started playing at noon, entertained the fans, and then the St. Camillus band of Far Rockaway came on, and then the Hempstead High School band. What a tremendous band that is, and what formations they went into. 2 strike count to Choo-Choo Coleman. Burright leads at second. Has a fastball fired high and away. It's 1-2. Jerry Vale sang the national anthem here today. There was a presentation by the entire 65th squad of the television show Naked City. A floral horseshoe to Casey Stengel, a good luck piece from the fans. Pitch is inside. It's 2-2. And listen to the crowd. Burright at second base. Nobody out for the Mets in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Ernie Voglio leaning over on one knee. You get a sign with a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Choo-Choo Coleman. Swinging a drive foul off the scoreboard down the right field line. Well, it actually knocks one of the placards out of the scoreboard and leaves a hole up there. Choo-Choo Coleman pulling that one a little too much down the right field line, so the count holds it 2-2 to him. Voglio again is into the stretch. Pitch is swung on and foul back onto the street. He's still alive. He got a little piece of that one. Wind blowing toward right field here right now. After a cloudy, overcast early morning, it has been a sunny afternoon. Since long before the start of the ball game, the sun came out mid-morning, actually. Burright leads at second. Voglio's pitch swung on, and there's a high pop foul back of the bag at first. Bill White's hoping for a play. He's at the barrier. He can't get there. It's in the stand. Count holds it 2-2 to Choo-Choo Coleman. Bill White returns to first, and right alongside him is umpire Bill Chakowski. Game is held up for a moment while umpire Frank Sikori gets the new supply of baseballs. Perhaps you know the home club supplies all the baseballs. 5 dozen for each game are made ready and available to the umpires. 60 baseballs on hand for each game played. And now the 2-2 pitch. Swung on. Foul back onto the string. Choo-Choo is guarding the platter. Burright standing right on the bag at second at this moment. Voglio again gets the sign from Carlos Sawatsky. Has it into the stretch. There's a pitch, swung on and missed. Strike 3, he struck him out. Strikeout number 8 for Voglio. And that brings up Ed Cranepool. Well, there's a great deal of drama in baseball, and we've had some of it around this fellow today. He's only 18 years of age. A year ago, he was sharing his books in high school not far from here at James Monroe High School in the Bronx. Started in right field today. He had popped out to short. He flied to right field, a long fly ball, and popped out to short again. Left-hand batter. Pitch is low and away for a ball. Not only did Cranepool make the opening day lineup of the Mets, he made it batting number 3 in the batting order. Which is about as big a way as you can make it. Again, Voglio is into the stretch, and here's the pitch. Changed on him high. He watched it for a ball. It's 2-0. So a little more than a week ago, Cranepool was exclusively a first baseman. Casey Stengel said at dinner one night, I think I'll try that fellow in the outfield and see if we can't keep that bat around. Tried him in the outfield. He's conducted himself very well. Had a fine throw, and he's made a couple of fine catches. One on an extremely long run in right field. Swinging a ground ball towards second base. Taken by Javier. He plays over to White in time as Burright moves to third on the infield out. That brings up Duke Schneider. So for the Mets, it's up to the Duke with 2 men out and a runner at third. As the Mets attempt here to evade the shutout, Schneider has walked, struck out swinging, and grounded out third to first. So it's up to Schneider to see if he can get Burright in from third. Last year, both were with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Voglio works straight away into the motion. Swung on and fouled off for strike 1 to Schneider. St. Louis Cardinals 7 and the New York Mets nothing. And this, the bottom half of the 9th inning. Frank Thomas is on deck for the Mets. Voglio starts the motion again. That's a fastball in there for a called strike. Duke watched it over, and 2 strike count to him now. We had the Commissioner of Baseball, Mr. Ford Frick, on hand here at the Polo Grounds this afternoon to help inaugurate the new season. Voglio shakes off one side. He's ahead, and Snotty has a 2-strike count. Now time is called as Schneider turns and walks out. He's back in. Voglio with the windup and the pitch. Swung on as a foul ball. Back and out of play. Count holds at 2 strikes to Schneider with 2 men out and Larry Burright, the base runner, at third. Voglio gets the sign. Into the windup. Here's a 2-strike pitch. Ground ball. That is going deep to White. Up with it, he placed the Voglio at first in time, and the game is over. A ground ball to first base. White had to go to his right, knocked it down, then picked it up and played over to Voglio in time to get Schneider on the ground ball to end the ball game. As in the bottom half of the 9th inning, the New York Mets got no runs on 1 hit, the double by Burright, no errors, and 1 man left. Keep in mind that the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals will meet here tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Ray Weissman will be pitching for the Cardinals, and stylish left-hander Al Jackson will be the hurler for the New York Mets. 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. We'll be back in a moment with the final summary and totals. Right now, the final score of the game is St. Louis Cardinals 7 and the New York Mets nothing. Well, you know, you've heard us say it's beer as beer should say. Well, think of that for a minute. Isn't that what you want in a beer? Don't you want a beer that's refreshingly dry to the taste, with a flavor that's brisk and bright and clean, clear through? Well, that is Rheingold. Rheingold is brewed to be just that. Brewed of the choicest ingredients, brewed the long, slow, costly way. Rheingold is everything you look for in beer. And dry tells you why. Yes, extra dry means Rheingold's a better beer. In fact, it's a wonderful beer.
And extra dry means Rheingold beer is more refreshing. And the more refreshing a beer is, the more you're going to enjoy it. So enjoy fine, cold Rheingold beer along with every game. Join the millions who have made Rheingold New York's largest selling beer. Here at the Polo Grounds in New York, the baseball season is underway as the opening game has been completed. The St. Louis Cardinals got out into an early lead over the New York Mets as they scored 2 runs in the top half of the first inning off Roger Craig. Kurt Flood started it when he hit a little number down the third base line. Charlie Neal tried the bare-hand play, threw wide at first, and Flood went to second. Dick Grote followed with a single to right that sent Flood to third. Bill White from the sacrifice fly to center, and Kurt Flood scored the first Cardinal run of the season. And George Altman sent a ground single to left. There was an error charged on Roger Craig on attempted pickoff. And Ken Boyer singled on the ground to left to score Dick Grote, and the Cardinals had their 2 runs. Bill White hit a home run in the top half of the third inning, the only homer hit here today. As the Cardinals added another also in the third to make it 4-0. They got 3 big runs in the top of the 6th with 1 man out after they had 3 base hits and a walk. Don Rowe came in. That was at least a bright spot for the day for the New York Mets as Don Rowe pitched 2 2/3 innings in relief, allowed no runs, gave up only 1 hit, struck out 2, and walked none. He was removed for a pinch hitter, and Galen Cisco came on. Ernie Voglio was practically invincible on the mound for the Cardinals. Gave up only 2 hits, both of them to Larry Burright. Burright opened up for the Mets in the bottom of the first with a single, and in the 9th he had a double. Somewhere in between, Ernie Voglio retired 20 consecutive batters, as throughout the afternoon he struck out a total of 8 and he walked only 2. Here is the final summary. For the St. Louis Cardinals, 7 runs on 14 hits and no errors, 10 men left on base. For the New York Mets, no runs, only 2 hits, 2 errors, and 4 left on base. Winning pitcher for the Cardinals is Ernie Voglio. The losing pitcher for the Mets is Roger Craig. Time of game, 2 hours, 41 minutes. This afternoon, the Mets were charged with 3 balks, which indicates that the umpires are going to continue to be extremely strict with the pitching motion as they were during spring training when more balks were called than have ever been called. Once again, the final score here, the St. Louis Cardinals 7 and the New
Here is Ray Shin.
That just about wraps up the first New York Mets game of the 1963 season. Brought to you by Rheingold Extra Dry and Viceroy Cigarettes.